We're not sure, but yeah, looking at him, looking at Coach Mike there, yep, he is certain about it.
Yep.
Fingers slowed down a little bit, but we got the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Palace, AMF Pin Palace. I'm your host, Dustin Capps, on the second episode of the Damn Good Average Bowler podcast. That's right. With me, as always, the inventor, our man, CEO, Chief Dog, Top OG, Coach Mike Price. How you doing, bud?
Good. How's everybody doing?
I ran out of stuff for your intro.
It's
No.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No, our guest today is, man, I got a lot to say about you, bud.
I bet you do.
No, but with us today we have the head coach, Hazel Green High School Bowling Team, Coach James Cagle.
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you, buddy. How you doing?
We're doing.
We are doing.
We are doing.
We are doing. So how's everything been with you? We know each other for about what? Actually, this summer? Is that when we first met?
Yeah, this summer, definitely getting your boys involved,
Yeah.
getting them back into league bowling and whatnot, and so definitely known the boys for a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
and enjoyed working with them. You know, it just.
This is a safe space. You don't have to lie.
Good kids, good kids. You know, it's those that want to be here. That's the plus.
That is.
Definitely.
And your boy, I love that they're bowling with yours. You have a son right now,
Right.
Cliff.
Yeah.
He's actually the anchor for the team.
He is. He's come a long ways. He's been bowling 3 years now. This is his third season.
That's it.
That's it. And you know, he's got the attitude of, if I make a great shot, great. If I don't, hey, it's okay. And
That's a powerful thing.
it really is, and especially when, you know, at this age, not knowing what it really is, and you know, I just hope he maintains that as he gets into further bowling, into adult, you know, tournaments and that sort of thing, because that's a good trait to have.
It may sound like that's kind of like, well, he should be taking more serious, or that perspective in general,
Sure.
not just Cliff, right?
Right.
Because I kind of, in working on developing, I'm not near as good as Cliff, because that kid's a stud. But I'm developing that same mindset with like, okay, I know what I need to be doing. I'm going to focus on executing the best that I can.
Right.
If it is not a great shot, it happens. I need to focus on the next one.
Right. You
You can't dwell on that last one. You got to have that instant amnesia. And I think I said powerful is the first word that came to mind, because when you can do that and get over that shot, if you just blow it, like I think I told Mike, last Sunday in league,
Mm-hmm.
I threw 2 gutter balls in a row. I can't tell you I don't know the last time I did that.
It happens.
And I wasn't happy.
Well,
You know, I don't mean to derail that one,
No,
but being able to say, hey, I hope this is a great shot, but it's not really hope. You're putting what you know into it in your experience.
Right.
That's enough, right?
well, you know, and Mike will tell you, I've known Mike 20 plus years. Known him when he was a youth bowler. And, you know, I've got stories. I mean, he's got stories, I got stories, trust me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like with anything else. You cannot go back and replay that frame. When you're,
Right.
you know, football, unless it's a penalty, you can't go back and replay that. It is what it is. And the more you dwell on it, the worse it's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to clear the mind, and you go, it's a mindset. And
Sticking it real bad real quick.
yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Oh man, well, plenty of high school bowling to talk
Yes.
to. Coach, you ready with the recap yet?
I'm working
Oh,
on
where's it all?
trying to make sure I'm properly communicating with our guests.
We hope everybody's doing good out there. How's everybody doing? Chime in, let us know. We are live on YouTube and Facebook, so hey, jump in the comments box. I got a question, let us know. I can't tell you the bowling depths of knowledge we have next to these guys. Like I'm serious. Anything bowling, send in a question. Think of it as a live Q&A if you want. Questions, comments, concerns. You want me to talk smack to somebody? I'll be more than happy to do that for you. But let us know what you think, guys. You know, great panel. We're here for everyone. So let us know what you think. While we're getting to the tournament recap, something else fascinating with the youth bowling, kind of while we're on it. So it's not only, you're the high school coach.
Right.
I didn't know that like high school bowling was really even a thing. Like back when I was going to high school coming up, I was in a big high school, you know, I was 4A on the West Coast, so we had 500 kids in the senior class.
Okay.
So I think that's a decent size.
Right.
No bowling team.
Really.
Yeah.
You know,
We didn't have bowling teams when I was in the youth program either,
Yeah.
so.
So I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
Is that just a normal thing that you've always seen?
no, it's back in the day, back before my time.
So way
way back in the '70s. For whatever reason, they discontinued bowling on the high school level here in Alabama. Just recently, probably within the last 10 years, they brought it back, and it's really taken off. They didn't know the magnitude that this could cause, what they could have.
You mean when they took it away?
When they took it away, and then and I'll just kind of give you a little background myself. I grew up playing baseball. That was my sport. When I got into the 9th grade, I didn't want to put in the effort to play high school ball. And that was just I knew I was good enough.
Yeah.
But didn't care.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was like, well, if you're not gonna do that, you're gonna bowl. Okay, well, I love to bowl. That's no problem. And I ended up at that time, which was legal to do. He had my dad sign a waiver that gave up my amateurism, so I couldn't play baseball. I couldn't do any of this anymore. And I said, okay, fine. So I started bowling adult leagues, getting an average bowling.
At what age were you when you were doing this?
I was 12. 12 and 13, and I'm bowling with the adults. I didn't know what sandbagging was at the time. Hey, all right, son, you're gonna get over here and you're gonna throw a backup ball. Okay, throw a backup ball. Go to tournaments. Turn it over, roll it right.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever you say.
So when you say though, I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry. But when you say, I know most people, bowling fans are watching, they know what that is. But assume that I don't know what turning it over means.
All right, so naturally I'm a right-hander, so and I like to crank the ball. I mean that's just coming out properly.
Grip and rip it.
Yeah, grip it, let it ride. But if I turn it over, it'd be like throwing a backup ball. It's a first ball.
Again,
So
let me break that all the way down.
Yeah. So my release, instead of coming out just as a normal release, I would take it and roll a backup ball, which is a righty throwing it like a lefty. So that it come out in the end, just like a left-hander. And and tendency is if you're not very well at it, you're going to carry less than average.
Yes.
So that's what I did. I could be a 150, 160 average bowler
With that?
and then go to a tournament and average 180, 190. Now this is in my early teens, 13, 14 years old, and we just go. But they wouldn't say anything to me because I was youth.
Yeah.
Bowling in these tournaments. I paid my money like everybody else. So
But were you winning money too? How'd it go when you were winning the money?
It's fine because they thought, something a lot of people had never seen me bowl. So, it was sanctioned, I'd bowl, and it is what it is. I got to the point where I knew I was good enough, I didn't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And, started carrying 200, 210, 215, 220. Knew I didn't have any handicap, so I had to bowl.
Yeah.
Forced myself to bowl.
Yeah. Now you have to.
Now I have to.
If you get out of that handicap.
Now I have to. And and that's just one of the things I like to teach these kids is be yourself, do your best. We're going to improve on how you bowl. I'm not going to change the way you bowl. I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong, what I see. But, and we'll get, I'm sure, more into this a little later, but if a kid's not willing to change or ask for help, I'm not going to help you. I mean, I'm not to be rude in
No, I know what you
a
mean.
situation, but if a kid,
Sounds like social labor talking about the last episode.
so it's just a matter of a kid, an adult. It doesn't matter if you come and say, "Hey, can you help me?" Two things got to happen. One, you got to be willing to listen. Two, you got to be willing to change. If you're not willing to do those two things, then I'm not going to waste my time.
Now, a lot of interesting stuff in there. We were just talking about that too. But willing to change. Do you notice it with kids? Because you guys are both coaches, right? Like, you're mostly coaching kids. Youth. Do you find that easier or more difficult in general than trying to coach adults, with them being willing to change?
Well, let's start with the kids.
You know what Bernie Mac says?
Well, I do.
I'm just kidding.
But
I just throw that out.
But the issue is,
Bernie said it.
and I know Mike has seen this. Now, Mike is a youth bowler. Back then, I'm going to tell him himself. Mike has come to me when he was still in youth and coming out of youth and starting to do it, and said, "Hey, I can't get the ball to do this, or I can't do this, I'm struggling with this. And this is when Parkway was still around. We'd go in there and say, okay, I'll meet you at this time. We start doing it.
Mhm.
Mike was willing to listen.
Mhm.
Okay. I've gone to Mike and said, hey, I need you to watch me. I need you to, I know I'm doing something wrong, but I can't pinpoint where I'm at, what I'm doing. So it was just, it's one of those that I asked for help,
Mhm.
he gave it to me. Mike asked for help, I gave it to him. Now, it wasn't one of these also where he asked and the next day he was back doing the same thing.
Mhm.
He was learning
Right.
from what was said.
Yep.
My issue with that is if a kid comes and asks me and says, hey, I'm struggling with this, that's fine and dandy, but I don't need the parent coming behind me saying, you don't know what he's talking about, you need to do it this way. That's the problem with the sport, and that not just youth bowling on Saturdays and practicing throughout, it's also in high school bowling.
Of coaches trying, or excuse me, parents trying to tell you how to coach their kid, or
Correct.
what they need.
Yes, like if I told your son,
Yeah.
I need you to throw the ball this way, and explain it to him, he says, okay, I got it. And he goes out there and he does it, and it works.
Mhm.
And then you see something that he's doing that you don't think is right, and he comes back there and he strikes, and you say, great ball, but you need to do this. Then why even ask me?
No, exactly.
You know,
Well, that's
because,
decrediting you.
exactly, and it makes it look like I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah,
Right.
as a high school coach, as a youth coach on Saturday, if you don't want me there, tell me. But yet, your child is listening and learning
Mhm.
and getting better, so where's the disconnect?
Right.
Now, adults, I've had, and I know Mike's seen this as well, I've had people come up to me and say, hey, I need your help. Help them 2 or 3 weeks, and they do it, and they do it, and they do it, and you can see the determination to get better. But yet, they go to leave on the same shot, and they're right back to doing the old thing, and says, well, I can't get it to do this, or I can't do this. Well, what happened to what I asked you to do? Well, it ain't working. Really?
After you tried it less than 10 times.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I can tell you, I've seen you throw the ball. I can tell you, hey, move 2 boards right,
Mhm.
soft hand, throw the ball, let the ball roll. And you do it and it worked, and then it'd be the same shot 5 minutes later. And if you're forcing the ball
Yeah.
and not rolling, and I ask you, hey, what's going on? You didn't do that a while ago. And you can't give me an honest truth answer, we're done.
Yes, but
I mean-
now sticking with me as an example, I'm a bit of a sling blade.
Well, sure.
Right? So I'm so worried about everything else that
Right.
it's like, dang it, you're right, that did nail it. I was worried about my approach and the follow through
Sure.
and this and that. Dang it, you're right, I could have had it. I'm a little slow though.
Well, but I'm not, here's what I want the people to know. I don't know everything. Okay? Because if I was doing that, then I'd be following the pros on tour and coaching them.
Yeah.
That ain't happening. But I know enough because I've been around it for 48 years to say, this will work. This is how I was taught. The advice and the people that I go to
Mhm.
to figure out what I'm doing wrong. You know, and we've got some great bowlers in the city of Huntsville.
Mhm.
Tony Churchy, Michael Weber, you know, and that's just a couple, you know, and Michael coaches at Spartan,
Mhm.
you know, but if I approach them and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, what can you tell me? They don't hesitate to tell me.
Right.
But if they see me out there doing something crazy, after I just ask them,
Yeah.
they're not gonna tell me, you know, they're like, dude, you just want to hear it,
Right.
but you're not doing it.
Here's a problem I had when I was last year or 2 in youth league. The coaches would get out there and they would try to coach you. And the thing about it is, with the group I grew up with, we're out averaging these guys by 10 or 20 pins. And I would, you know, again, I don't mean no disrespect, because as I've gotten older, one of my best coaches averaged $180. He averaged 180 easily, but he could coach.
Mhm.
He couldn't put that to the lane as well as other people with higher averages, but he could coach like nobody's business. So the thing is there. I have the shirt hanging in my closet, and I don't bring it out much because, you know, it'd be really mean, but it says 180 average bowler shouldn't coach.
Oh.
Well, And, but
And was that made for him?
No. I have a lot of sarcastic shirts I found on Annoying Bowling Guy on
I
Facebook.
do like it.
But Mike, I know you'll agree too. There are those that can, and they're and practice what they preach, and there's those that are meant to coach because of their knowledge, but just can't perform.
Sure.
A case in point is, my daughter's playing college golf. All right, she's a 3 handicap. Okay, so the lower the better. All right, I can't play golf for crap. I'll shoot in the 80s and low 90s, sometimes over 100, and she'll tell you that in a heartbeat. But I can coach her, tell her what she's doing wrong, and it corrects itself.
Right.
So my thing is, and I know Mike and yourself would agree that I'm not going to change. If you come to me, I'm not going to change the way you bowl. I watch you. I see your tendencies. We work around those tendencies to get you where you want to be. If you're a down and in bowler, a full roller, I'm not going to sit here and move you all the way left and say, crank the ball.
Right.
Because that's something you don't do. Some of the stuff's going to be uncomfortable, but I'm not moving you 15 boards left and say, hey, you got to throw it across this or you're not going to strike.
Well, like you said that earlier, sorry, I just want to say this real quick, but you said earlier, Down, I'm going to improve your bowling.
Right.
So I love that.
So here's a question for you, James. How well are you coaching those and trying to coach them up with their spare games? Because one of the things I observed when high school bowling is out here, and I mean no disrespect by this, but it's like, where's the spare games at? It's so critical, and I say that not insulting. I say it as a perspective, because when I was coming up with like being coached and everything, they were so critical on our spares that the strikes they could overlook and everything, and they were like spares. Do you see that in the high schools now, or do you try to implement that with your team?
There's when I say this, I mean no disrespect to any of the 11 teams in our region, okay, and that's just in 6A and 7A, okay, but here's where part of this goes wrong, and I'll answer that. I don't have a problem answering that, but the issue is the fact that you have, since the 9 or 10 years that it's been back, these schools hire a coach to come in,
Right.
that has no clue about bowling. Okay, it's called stipend. And some of the schools it's very well seen that the coach will sit there and just write down the score and not say anything.
Right.
But then you have, like I said about Michael Weber coaching at Spartan, Whitney Bartis coaching at Buckhorn, Coach Hartland bowls in the league out and coaches for JC. My brother coaching at Randolph. Myself at Hazel Green. If I missed anybody else that actually bowls, I apologize. But the fact is, those coaches are teaching kids how to. Mine hate. They hate when I request. They know if I request lanes 1 and 2 or 35 and 36, we shoot 10 pins. That gives me access to walk down the side and say, I need the ball here. This is what you're looking at.
Right.
We're picking up the 10 pin. We're picking up the 7 pin. I can't honestly say that I see that with some of the other schools. And it shows. Now, are my kids perfect? By no means. By no means. But you also see me on a spare ball. Hey, come here. Let me talk to you. What are you looking at? Where are you going to throw the ball?
Right.
All right. Now, is it the right time to do it in a match? Sometimes you have to.
Right.
Because my kids range anywhere from, on the boys team, from 7th grade to senior. And, the attention span ain't there all the time. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Sorry, what?
Exactly. So, and I keep up with my kids' stats. Strike percentage, spare percentage, single pin percentage. All right. So my question to them is, every season before we start, and starting when we're practicing is, here's what you did last year. What are you going to do to improve?
Right.
I said, anybody can get lucky and throw a strike. okay?
Correct.
So when my top 3 bowlers right now, average wise, okay, I've got one, I'm not gonna name names, I've got one that's average has gone up 30 pins. And this is region matches from last year. All right, I've got one that's dropped almost 30 pins. And I've got one that's raised 6 pins. Okay? These 3 are also the top 3 as far as strike percentage. Okay, well, what does it tell you, or what should it tell you, when your strike percentage is only 50%? You better be picking up some spares. You're not gonna win matches in high school if you cannot pick up spares. And I'm not talking just single pins, I'm talking multi-pins. You know, splits, get the pin count, that's what I teach.
Right.
I mean, there's makeable splits, there's not makeable splits.
Right.
You're not gonna pick up a 710. I mean, the chances of that happening are 1.1%. So give me a 10 pin or 7 pin, whichever one you get, because that's what's gonna cost you. We have lost 4 matches this season after being in it in the second baker or after the second baker. 4 matches, less than 75 pins total.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they cannot pick up a spare.
And 2 of those, I believe, fairly recent, we were winning
Yes.
through, that was,
You know, and,
Oh.
and that has cost us a chance to go to the next step of regionals. And you know, and I tell the boys, I said, I cannot throw the ball for you. I can help you in getting better, but I cannot throw the ball for you.
Mhm.
And that's the hardest part. You know, everybody thinks that big hook is the way to go. I'm sorry. If I could get away from the big hook, I'd be throwing down and in all day. Mike, you throw the ball down and in being just, you know, down the first arrow, down the second arrow, let the ball walk to the pocket.
Yeah, that's because I throw it hard.
You do throw it hard, but that's what you grow up doing. You didn't have to worry about big hook and playing the larger mistake, if you will, area wise. You couldn't get the hand in the ball that you needed.
I could never hook it that much.
can I emphasize on that real quick? I don't mean to
No,
interrupt,
no,
remember
because-
exactly where you're
Go
at.
ahead, yes.
But I've seen this, and I've seen how he bowled. It was like last week or whatever, we're getting ready to leave, because rarely do I see you actually bowl.
Mhm.
And he's, ironically enough, I kind of give myself some credit for this. I got the 2 bowling balls that he throws, but I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, I go down there, we're just gonna say bye, and I see him just like, da-da-da, boom, and just launch it down the lane. And it doesn't hook, it just goes, yeah, back here like, boom!
Right.
And I was like, holy crap! Anyway, I just had to,
But you know, just to prove a point, you know, if you're consistent enough to throw a big hook, great. You know, but
consistency
it's
is a
key.
big word there.
But watch this, Mike. I know you just threw one just recently. Throwing that down and in. How many 300s do you have?
23.
How many 800s do you have?
16.
Okay. And that's throwing down and in. You know, and yeah, he pipes the ball down there, but he gets reaction, and he gets the movement that he needs.
Right.
I've never thrown one down and in 300. I've got 15. And 800s, but
again,
it's what works for you.
exactly to your point, and that's to the point of coaching. That's why I try to stress that. And we were talking about this on our last episode. I will literally sit down with a student or someone wanting to get
Sure.
a lesson from me, and I will talk to them for 30 minutes.
Mhm.
Like, get to know them and say, and the thing about it is when you bring them in and say, what do you think? You have no idea how much of a confidence booster that actually is, because they think you're invested in them. And with my coaching style, it's just like, okay, like you said earlier, if you don't want my help, I'm not going to help you.
Sure.
And I'm not going to offer anybody advice unless I'm asked, because I don't want to come off righteous or anything like that, like I know it all, because I don't. But coaching it's just like spare shooting. It's a lost art.
It is.
It's a very big lost art. And one of the things I have ran into, and again, with kids now, they want to watch the ball hook. We have a lot of two-handers and no thumb bowlers, and a lot of them. I think Curtis did it in the last episode. He did the percentage. It was something like that. It was incredible the amount of, it's incredible the percentage of two-handers and no-thumbers and the age range. But I can tell you something right now, kids, strikes are for show, spares are for dough. And as you get older, you're gonna feel that. I'm just letting you know right now, and I don't say it to be mean, but you're gonna feel that as you get older.
I was walking into Madison Bowling Center. This would have been last year, year before, when Mr. Churchy had just recovered from his injuries. And he was picking up a bowling ball, and he just thrown it, and he said, your son bowling? I said, yeah. And I said, he's learning. He goes, he needs to bowl two-handed. I said, no, he don't.
Cliff?
Yeah. He said, he needs to bowl two-handed. I said, no, he don't. I said, I want him to learn what I call properly.
Yes.
And like I said, it's, it's a preference. If you're good with it, great. But just starting out, I wanted him to learn footwork. I wanted him to learn control. We'll work on it. If you want to crank the ball later, that's something you're going to learn. But I watched my grandfather bowl for years, and that was the thing. He threw down and in. If I could throw down and in, I would. But I'll be the first to tell you, my down and in may be an angle shot. It may be out to the gutter just because of the way I release the ball. And it's something that, wishing, I put in hour after hour, but it's always reverting back to what I know, and that muscle memory. And you've seen it, as you can see, Cliff is, and I hate to say it used to be, I could take any kid on the team and say, I need this shot. And right now it's I'll turn to Cliff in a heartbeat and say, I need this shot.
And Cliff is, I want to touch on a couple things here real quick. Cliff's 15.
Fixing to be, yes, sir.
And he's freshman. I've been watching this kid bowl a couple summers now, and then all high school league right now. Like you said, we've got some good bowlers on the team. We've got a couple, like the three you talked about, I think.
Right.
I won't mention the names either, other than Cliff.
Sure.
And Branson, he's
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
But no, we have a couple of studs on the team, other than Cliff,
Right.
that bowl towards the bottom of the lineup. But it's amazing, and you said yourself, I've heard it almost every game, it's like if Cliff starts missing shots or pulling,
Right.
gets his head up somewhere, it's like, hey, you're pulled. But he is tried and true, our anchor.
Right.
And I watched this kid bowl, man, and I love the word that you used was he's going to initially learn properly. And his mechanics are so good, and just approach, boy, good, it goes out and in, and it's every time it's so smooth, and this little almost hop step follow
Right.
through, but it's so smooth that it's, what he's gonna do. It's like, I wouldn't want anybody else
Right.
anchoring right now.
Right.
So when we need a big shot, or we need a turkey, we need to close out the tent, I want Cliff up there.
Right. And I appreciate that. That's but that's him. It's hey, when we're going bowling. Hey, when we're going bowling.
He's bowling right now, isn't he?
No, I'm
Didn't make
resting
it.
the thumb. He's
Good idea though.
But,
That's from Montgomery.
we got three matches coming up. But I took him to a clinic.
Yeah.
And I would put this out there for anyone that's wanting to learn from, especially if you get the opportunity. He went to hear Bob learn. He went as well, and so did Branson. And there were two regional champions, one lefty two-hander, one righty two-hander, and you had Mr. 300 himself. And what was the first thing he told you? When he went one-on-one, what was the first thing he told you?
With me? Oh gosh, we videoed first. You're talking about from watching my video?
Yes.
There was a few things. I think the first things out of his mouth was like, here's what we're gonna do.
Feet.
Yeah.
And Cliff, it's my kid, I can talk about him all along. He walked like a duck, and that's just, he always had his feet out here. You just didn't know what was gonna happen. And Bob told him, said, you're not gonna throw a ball until we get your feet right. He got his feet back, got them together.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was 5-step, and everything was straight, and okay, that's great. Now let's get the ball up. Cliff come back from that, and that's been what, almost 3 weeks now?
Well, it's been, I think, over a month.
Okay, so let's say 4 weeks, and because of those couple of things, footwork and higher ball position, he's raised his average 12 pins.
It's been 2 months? Wasn't it back in October?
It was because they
Anyway,
had the boot,
besides
yes.
the point.
But the fact that those two things, not me telling him how to throw the ball
Yeah.
or what you need to do, but it's allowed him to get more consistent to the line, more consistent where the ball throws. He's not tired anymore because he's letting momentum of the ball help him in his swing. Real simple. Branson's the same way. Branson likes to throw the backup ball, big hook. We're working on that.
Yes.
But Wesley Lowe Jr., he's a two-handed lefty, and he sat there and he worked with him. So Branson's trying to put it all together, but I don't think it'll be too much longer. He's going to realize I've got more control if I throw the ball like a right-hander should. So we're working on that.
I think it's still a novelty. It's cool. It's
It is,
different,
exactly.
Which is
He's the only one.
Yeah.
He's the only youth that I've seen in Madison County throw it that way. So two-handed backup, yeah, definitely.
yeah.
So
So let's talk about youth bowling a little bit. I mean, we have been,
Sure.
but I mean in the sense of what's out there. So we talk about high school and the Saturday morning leagues.
Mhm.
So what we want to do here with this podcast, one of the big things, is get out there and bring bowling to more people,
yes,
expose bowling to more people,
yes,
especially the youth. Right. So if y'all watching out there, I'll ask you, help us out. How can we spread bowling around to people that may not necessarily? I mean, everybody knows what bowling is, but if you've never done a league or a tournament or a clinic or something like that, I know when I first got here, that's why I was talking to you a lot in the pro shop. It's like, how do we find these things? So if I'm a parent out there and my kid's not into bowling, how can I find the leagues to get them into, the clinics to take them to, a league if I want to do it, those types of things?
Well, used to we had, before Parkway had burnt down, and then, the closing of Playmore, there was a league, youth league in every house.
Mm-hmm. Are they typically Saturday mornings?
They are typically Saturday mornings. Now, you have what I call entertainment spots, if you will.
Yeah,
That would be like
yeah.
Main Event and
Mm-hmm.
Stars and Stripes. Both of which are great if for the entertainment purposes. They do not host currently youth leagues. But Penn Palace and Madison Bowl, as well as Redstone Arsenal, if you have access, all have Saturday morning youth programs. What I'm seeing is kind of ties in with high school bowling is a lot of people don't know that there is high school bowling. Part of the issue is the fact, like I say, it's new and coming back strong, especially the center part of the state, Birmingham. You have it, on the outskirts, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, down in Mobile. In Huntsville, like I said, we have the largest region in the state, 6A and 7A, here in Madison County, which also includes Hartselle. And then the 1 through 5A only has 6 teams, but that's, of course, you're smaller, so they can compete.
Yep.
The issue is, these people don't know. And what's sad to me, is the fact that you have a team such as Buckhorn that does not have a ladies team.
Mm-hmm. That's just because they don't have enough people.
They just don't have enough ladies, enough girls to bowl, and they've tried. So they've had to combine and put their girls on the boys team, and they have to declare a boys team. And this is, this happened shortly after they had won state championship. And it's sad to say, you've got all these sports out there, and everybody's like, well, how do I get involved? How do I get involved? Well, check with your local center. They know who the coaches are. They can point you in the right direction. If not, ask the school that you go into.
Mm-hmm.
If you're zoned for Buckhorn, great. Call the high school and say, hey, can I speak to the athletic director? Or can I get the email to the bowling coach? Same thing with Hazel Green. Same thing with Sparkman. Madison County used to have a bowling team for both boys and girls. No longer. New Hope's never had one. It's a smaller school. But now you go out to Madison, Sparkman, James Clemens, Bob Jones, even Columbia has a team. So I mean, it's there if you want to do it.
Yeah.
But you've got to want to do it. And the sad part is, these folks saying, I don't want to commit my time. Okay, well that's the quickest way for a program to hit the skids and downfall very quickly. Just some numbers for you to kind of chew on. So, youth bowling here at Penn Palace, we have it from the 2-game bumpers, that's the Pee-wees, to the next age group, which is probably going to be in that 5 to 7 year old range.
Okay.
They're bowling 2 games over here. Then you have what I say everybody else, it's the Rebels, and that's going to be all the way up to your high school. That's the 3 games on Saturday. We have 18 bowlers, 15 boys, 15 girls. So, and you'll see this a lot in a lot of the centers in the breakdown. There's always more boys. Don't know what the reason, but it is what it is. But out of these 18 bowlers. Me at Hazel Green, I have I got 4 that bowl in the league out of the 18. Buckhorn has 1.
Yeah.
Grissom has 1. Lee, which also includes New Century, has 2. That's it. That's all the high school bowlers. And this house houses, for practice and matches, Buckhorn, Hazel Green, Huntsville, Lee, Grissom, Oakwood Academy, which is in smaller, so is Westminster, Randolph. Where the kids at?
Yeah.
You go out to Madison, they have 48 bowlers. They have 32 guys and 16 girls.
Saturday morning leagues.
For Saturday morning league. Majority being from Sparkman, James Clemens, and Bob Jones. Really? You're telling me, and people ask, well, they have more room. I don't want to hear how they have more room. They got more access. Let me explain. Sparkman's boys and girls are always bowling for a state championship.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why. Okay? Mike does a great job with them. You know, as well as all these other bowlers that are coaching. They do a great job with their kids. But look at the commitment from the kids.
Yeah.
And another one that I want to throw just a shameless plug for is out on the Arsenal. If you have access, which you can get a recreational badge now to go out on the Arsenal, $20 every Saturday. They bowl 4 games. They bowl on a sports shot every week.
The kids?
The kids.
Oh, wow.
And they'll have a classroom period from 11:30 to 12 on certain days. And they say, this is how you need to look at this shot, this is how you need to play this shot. They have 17 bowlers. I took Cliff out there yesterday. Just Coach Moore with Alabama A&M is over the league out there, and he said, "Yeah, bring Cliff out here. I'd love to see him. Let me see what it's like." So they were out there yesterday, and they bowled on. Let's see, what was it? It was a 43-foot pattern, you know, but they dropped the meals to 30 instead of 50. I'm like, okay, great. It was on Scorpion, the PBA experience. And I told Cliff, I said, roll the ball, put it between the second and third arrow, see what happens. Smash hole.
Nice.
Smash hole. Smash hole. I said, what's the problem? What do you mean? I said, you ain't picked up a 7-pin yet. I said, practice your corner pins. I ain't worried about you hitting the pocket. Learn.
Yeah.
And he bowled 4 games and he got a true taste of what sports shot was like. And he understood it. But I seen kids from Huntsville High. I seen kids from Bob Jones. I seen a kid from Scottsboro. They're coming from Scottsboro over here. And I promise you, Huntsville's a lot bigger than Scottsboro.
Oh, yeah.
But yet, he's willing to make himself better. And there's one that I admitted here that bowls at Scottsboro, but he leaves here and goes out to Marshall. The resources are here.
Yes.
We just have to get them to it. And my fear is that when these kids finish up and move on, what's the state of youth bowling?
So before we get into that, I want to just touch a little bit more on something else you said. What is their commitment, you know? And so let's talk about real quick, just again in plain terms, because we've been talking about the value of lessons, right? But those are kind of like self-finding ones. How do we get better?
Right.
You do that, expose them to the shot here. You bowl in different lanes. I had to explain to an adult, like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but just how much we don't know as bowlers.
Right.
This was an adult in our league, the Sunday night Dang Good Average Bowler League, who is I'm not great, but I carry about a 160-ish average, a little lower, maybe. But in the league, that's what I'm throwing. And been around it forever. And this is a grown man older than me. Did not know there was something different than house shot. Didn't know there were different oil patterns out there. And again, this isn't to be like, this idiot. No, but he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's a house shot, man. It's like, then we're running sports shot. I'm learning all this stuff now because we're working on sales. But they don't know these things. They don't have the exposure. So, and we'll send it to both of you guys, however you want to see it. What is the value in actually getting your kids lessons from a coach that knows what they're doing, that has a source of knowledge like you two?
Well, I mean, it is truly an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to some of these league coaches. I mean, I've got a badge that says, you know, that you're approved through, you know, background check, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing that they have to go through to be able to work with your kids.
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna put a couple of coaches on the spot. So, three of the coaches that work here at Penn Palace, I bowl with personally, on Tuesday night in the men's classic league.
Mhm.
But I've also known, and if he sees this, he'll shoot me later, but when I was growing up in league, I bowled here at Penn Palace. Lee Burtfield was my youth coach. Okay,
Mhm.
I was 7, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
All right, dude, that's 45 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still out here working with the kids. And everything that he taught me then, he's teaching now. And when I say no different, footwork, release, where are you looking? Consistency. You gotta have that in a coach. Somebody that's willing to put in the time and effort. Norwood Cutter, Ray Williams, they all are putting in that time. You go to Madison and you've got Michael and Tina Weber out there putting in the time and doing.
Mhm.
You go to Rolex, you've got James Moore and his wife Yolanda. You have Larry Keel. You know, you have these coaches out there that are willing to give their time and their energy to see these kids do better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, as far as paying for lessons, you want your kid to get better? Find somebody that's willing to take the time and give you 100% attention as long as your child is willing to do it. Don't bring them up here because you want them to get better, not, and, you know, and they don't care. They'd be rather sitting at the house playing Fortnite, you know, and instead of out here learning how to roll the ball.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. And adults the same way. You know, I do the same thing Mike does. Mike touched on that. Talking to them, I may not talk to them for 30, 45 minutes, but I'm going to talk to them and find out, where do you want to be? I mean, Mike, you know, trust me, I get it. Where do you want to be? What do you want to see? What do you want to get out of this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to get better. No, in what aspect? I don't need, well, I want my average to go up. Well, that's not on me. That's something, you know, spares. Spares make your average go up. I need to know, what are you wanting to achieve? If you can't tell me, then you need to take that money, go back and sit behind that desk, and sit on the couch at home and write down a list of things and come back to me and say, I thought about it, this is what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my thing right now is these kids, like we talked about, they want to see that ball hook.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Why are you spending $300 on a bowling ball that anybody can make hook, but if you don't know how to throw it, it'll go straight down the lane and not move a lick.
Yeah.
And then you're blaming somebody for the way they drilled the ball, or somebody for doing it. No, it's the way you throw the ball, but I can make the ball hook. I can tell you to stand right here and you make the ball hook on the first throw. But if you don't want to listen on how to control and make the ball score, you're in it for the wrong reason.
Correct. You know, to that point, I saw this video clip. It was, I don't know the actor's name, but they were, it's when Pat Riley was coaching the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? In the clip they show, I can't really tell you all the words they
Yeah.
said it. But basically, in a nutshell, Riley pretty much ripped the whole team. It was like, I thought we wanted to win championships here. And somebody would have a little like smirk, or they do a little and he'd be like, you got no room to talk, you're doing this, this, and this. And then he ended up benching one of the starters and put another guy in that actually was the right decision. And then what happens? The people above Riley come down and is like, what are you doing? This is our star player. We got this, this, and this invested in everything. And I say that to this point. If we all could put ego aside for a minute, and again, no disrespect, but if you could put your egos aside and actually come together for the common goal, like you just said, like Sparkman, everybody out at Madison, killer programs here, we're just, you know, we're getting by and everything. It's like, so it leads to the question, what do we have to do? What needs to be done? And I think it's amazing in the sense that you said, what, Grissom had one, and what other school had a couple.
Mm-hmm.
what do you think is the disconnect with bringing them to league and getting them more involved in it?
Well, the issue that I'm seeing is some of these kids, and I'm not putting any team on notice, but you see the kids that do it to get out of school.
Yeah.
You see, you know, oh, I can do this, I can do this. That's fine, get out of school. You can go to the house.
Yeah.
But if you don't have 5 kids that are willing to try and to make themselves better, that's the disconnect. You know, you see one team that's got 1 star bowler, and then you see other ones that want to make themselves better, but I don't see them down here practicing. I don't see them down here on, and it doesn't have to be Saturday morning. They could come to you, come to the pro shop and say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? What would it take for me to get with you and to improve all aspects of my game? You're not gonna turn them away. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna say, okay, this is what we're gonna do first. And if you're willing to do this, then we'll take the next step. Well, I'm not seeing that. And some kids that I see down here on Saturday morning, I love it because they're taking that aspect to make themselves better because they want that opportunity to go to a tournament, regardless if it's city, state, or go to Tennessee for road to gold, or go over to Georgia and bowl in their youth, was it GYBA, or the opportunity to go bowl in the Storm Youth Championship to make it to junior gold. That's major scholarship money for college, and you don't have to be a bowler. You can use that after you graduate. You don't have to go to college to bowl, but there's also that, and that's what I like about Rolex. And I wish a lot of these other would do the same. Is yeah, it's great to bowl, and you know as well as I do where I'm going with this. It's great to bowl on a house shot. Okay, if you want to elevate that average, you want to elevate the average. That's fine and dandy.
Yeah.
But if you don't have in your repertoire and in your game, period, the fact that, oh, this is short oil, what am I going to do on it? Oh, this is 40. This is 42 flat. What am I going to do on this?
This stuff's 28.
Exactly. you know, and then they get on there and they average. Just take the youth. Let's say you get one that's good enough to average 200 on a house shot, and then you go to a state tournament that's going to use a challenge shot or a sports shot, or you go out of state and you've got sports shots, and you come back with your tail tucked between your legs because you averaged 140 because you didn't know how to bowl on that. Why are you arguing with me? You know, well, yeah, pretty much. But they're preparing them differently out of Arsenal. You see averages, you look at it, it's like, that kid's better than that, why is he only averaging 150? I found that out the hard way. I found out they were bowling that on a sports shot. And it changed.
Wow.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, adults do the same thing. They'll say the same thing. They go to a tournament and say, well, I should have averaged this, but I only averaged this.
And unfortunately, sometimes it's worse with the adults.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say, I know Mike, a few years back, tried to do that in the summer as well with a sports shot league. And
The last time I did a sports shot league was 2017. I picked a day. I picked Sunday because that's all the center had available. And I said, I'll gladly do a sports shot league. No problem. People were in my ear constantly, hey, sports shot, let's do it. And I ran it for 12 weeks. And everybody and their brother in my ear, this is a great thing. Yes, totally. We floor. I had 5 teams.
Yeah.
And then I put in the 6 teams just so we wouldn't have a vacant.
right.
So we had 6 teams for 12 weeks. And I mean, cue the excuses, which again, I look at things totally different now than I did
Sure.
6 years ago. It's just like either you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. And either way, I'm okay with it. You know, like the sweepers I'm doing now, one thing I'm really pleased with the sweepers. I didn't make this point the last time we were on here. I'm having guys come out and try it for the first time. I had a guy on our sweat sweeper today, Andrew Lamka. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna come out and give it a shot. It'll be fun. And of course, he was kidding with me after he's like, oh, why did I come out for this? And I was like, hey, you got a good experience. But one of the things I will say is, to that point, sports shots will make you better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one of the things I do see the advantage with kids now, kids are going to more sports shot tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in SSJBA, let's see, 2003, 2004, I'm 18, 19, 20 years old. We're going to SSJBA tournaments, averaging 230 and not even making a cut.
Wow. On regular shot?
Yes, total house shot. I mean, we had some of our guys, you know, again, I called us the group of 6, group of 8, and James knows what I'm referring to. And we would go to these tournaments and try to win scholarship money. And it's like, I went to one of these in Tupelo, averaged 232, and I finished 6th. Didn't even make the top 5 step ladder. And it was like, you gotta be kidding. And I think the thing about it is now is again, I think it's great that the kids now are experiencing tougher patterns. And I see the connection from the younger crowd. They'll bowl in a house shot. Okay, cool. You know, they'll shoot a good set or something. They're not as, I don't know what word, y'all can help me find the words, but we would get on a sports shot back when we were their age, and it was like, we're not that good.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to tell you, I was not that good on a sports shot. I was like, oh, okay, this is a little different. So, but it's like tempering your expectation.
Correct.
Expectation management.
Yes, and one of the things I tell, especially the kids, I had one of the kids I was giving a lesson to is like, you know, hey, when did you shoot your first 300? I said February 8, 2003. I was a youth bowler. I was 18 at the time, and they were like, oh, well, how did it feel? And I was just kind of weird, off the wall. I was like, how did it feel? I was absolutely ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point of continuing with the lesson with the child that I was working with, I said, look, here's the deal. If you shoot that high, your expectations are going to go through the roof. I said, but here's what knocked me down. And it shows a greater appreciation for it now. And I tell people this all the time. The week after my first 300 game, my first game was a 103. 103, barely broke 100. And I about lost my stuff. But it's just like, I just did this, like this, and again, you know, the first 300, memorable,
Right.
and then you come in and you lay an egg, and it's just one of those things. It's like, how about I guess what it is, it's like I was extremely humbled.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just kind of like, the kids, I do notice now, they see, oh, we got to bowl this pattern. Okay, well, we're going to give it a shot.
Right.
Whereas when I was growing up, it's like, we don't have 25 boards of area? What the hell?
It's true though.
To that point, it's just, I don't, you know.
I mean, it's funny because the kids do have some tournaments coming up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the one that really is a true testament of how good are you, or how good do you think you are,
Mm-hmm.
is, you know, will take place in February. I think it's the first Saturday in February, on the 3rd, which is Pepsi sectionals. Okay, they don't tell you what the shot is 2 weeks before. You can practice on it all you want to, but each house puts the same shot out, but the oil machine may put it out
Right.
a little different.
Yep.
Well, it's one of those that, you know, the amount of scholarship money that they're giving away, and, you know, the winner at the state level going to junior gold, they're gonna challenge you. And I'm not talking a little bit. You talk about Cliff and how he's gotten a lot more consistent in the way he throws the ball. He was an alternate 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and he shot 396 for 3 games here at the Palace. And I sat back and looked at it. I was like, dude, you better point the ball to the head pin. Just couldn't do it. Ball moved maybe 3 or 4 boards. I was like, fine. You got lucky. Went to the state level. Didn't finish last, which was great, but I wanted him to see. Comes back last year, shoots 470, and qualifies, no issue. Well, I can assure you, this year the shot is not going to be a 470 shot.
Yeah.
But, and then you get to state, and it's like, there's no way. I don't want to shoot on that. You know, I'll tell you in a heartbeat, I don't want to shoot on it. But to see some of the kids and they grind,
Yeah.
and they grind, they don't give up. They see, well, okay, I know that kid's better than me. He's older than me. I know he's in the other age group. I know he's better than me. But I'm doing just as well as he is.
Mhm.
Okay, well that's fine. Grind.
Mhm.
You know, but that goes back to what we talked about before. Sports shot ain't about striking. It's about sparing. That's how you score. You got to spare.
Some of those toughest games, I don't know about for you guys, I'm just speaking from my lane experience in like league, that's my, you know, that's those are my like, but it's funny, some of the toughest games I've had, it's like, I've had to like, I'm fighting for my life for a 134, and that's like,
Bro, look, my second 300. I was on 7 and 8 at Parkway.
Mhm.
I tell you, plain as day, throwing an Ebonite black ice.
I remember that ball.
The oil machine broke. So we had spotty oil. I knew it. Of course, me and my stubborn self trying to throw reactive resin before I went to the black ice. Stand in the
It's
left
a black
gutter.
ice your thing.
Oh, it's plastic.
Plastic.
It's plastic. Standing far left. Launching the ball. I felt like Nathan Barnes. I was launching the ball. 145. Okay. This ain't working. Let me turn it over, throw a back of ball. 156. Pulled out the black ice. Just stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
300.
Wow.
I'm like, really? 145, 150. Yeah, I better shot 6.
With it.
But it's the fact that we're talking about being stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to change, but it happened.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, I'm just gonna say this because my first 300, I shot 650. I went 188, 162. I get it. It's because you're lined up for that game. You didn't miss, so you have a hard time processing yourself. Hey, dummy.
Exactly.
Like, you know, make a move.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But that's getting out of your comfort zone.
Right.
It's like, oh, what are we doing now?
no.
But hey, sometimes you have to get out of that comfort zone to make the shot.
Right. One thing that I really liked about finding a home here with you guys is we're all good with the phrase and teaching the kids, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do that. I mean, every adult out there that's gotten better at anything, you know that phrase.
Sure.
I mean, it's common in the military, like I just subtract from that, and all those other types of things, but it's like with this as well. Get comfortable on those uncomfortable lanes. Get comfortable with making those changes. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable to grow, period. And that brings us back to this point. I'll close out and then we'll move down to the next subject. But with the youth bowling and the high school and the Saturday morning leagues, and then coming to practice and the clinics and all those things, what I've genuinely, what I've typically seen since I've been here from this summer is it's really the same kids that are doing all of these things. It's the 4 kids from Hazel Green,
Right.
It's the one from Buckhorn, it's the one from here. They're the ones that are doing the high school bowling, they're the ones that are here Saturday mornings. I see them because I'm working here now, I see them through the week. There's a couple of our kids that I've told their dads, like, hey, here's my phone number. If they come in and I'm working, I'll see if I can get them, you know, a couple free games because I get the free games or whatever. It's the same ones doing it. So that almost brings us back to how can we get more kids involved in bowling.
Right.
So, but, and with that, I'll lead into this and then we'll move on with the lessons though, the value in lessons. I say it all the time because it's true, but the bowling IQ and the depth of the knowledge between you two guys is ridiculous. It's fantastic. So what I'm trying to relay to everyone out there is the coaches that you have access to, and I wouldn't say this if it wasn't true. You guys both know me well enough. I'm not gonna say something just to say it, but the coaches you have at these lanes here are fabulous. As far as, especially you two guys, you're more than welcome, man. I'm not just gonna say that. I'm glad you're coaching my kid. I'm glad my kids bowl with Cliff Saturday mornings. And you, my friend, like in our pro shop, I'm running the pro shop, but you're the district manager also for the pro shops. So,
For the Huntsville reason, yes.
yeah, what I'm trying to, again, last time, and then we'll move forward, but the incredible, I mean, just source of knowledge you have from him in the pro shop, this guy for your high school kids, it's unbelievable. It's a fantastic place. So, again, maybe you can let us know, help us. Maybe we can do some type of, we've talked about a fundraiser or something like that, or getting more people involved. I'm pretty sure the 3 of us, especially with Curtis, we can come up with something. You have ideas, let us know, because we want to get bowling out there more. You know what I mean? So, I don't think we're going to do this one just yet.
That's fine.
Okay, so are you ready for the tournament stuff?
I have it up here.
let's do our tournament recap. And by that, what I'm talking about is the Damn Good Average Bowlers did our first annual invitational, well, invite only. Invitational. Damn Good Average Bowlers. There we go.
You got it.
Yeah, we got there.
Mhm.
I did that on purpose, everyone. But it was awesome. Mike, why don't you go and tell us about it, bud?
So we had 45 entries. I paid out the top 11. Yes, 11. I was looking at my numbers here. High qualifier for the tournament was Jordan Iwamoto. He went 737 for his handicap total. The cut was 696 with George Davis. We had a wild championship match. The 5 seed Bobby McMillan went through Murderers Row and won his first tournament ever.
Man, he was so excited about that.
Yeah.
I mean, he still is.
Well, and he pulled a Pete Weber too, because I gave him the trophy and he
Yeah.
dropped the trophy. It didn't break. It didn't break, guys, but he did drop it, but he was excited.
Now, for those out there that may not know, who wants to tell us what do you mean by he did the Pete Weber?
Okay.
So, Pete Weber won a U.S. Open championship. I think it was back in the 90s. James, come in, and he held the eagle over his head, and the eagle was loose and it fell and it shattered into a billion pieces. This is on live TV. Live TV. So he pulled a Pete Weber. Bobby did that, but no, we had 45 entries. A lot of them bowled their tournament. That was the first ever tournament. So my goal with it was to get my guys. Like I tell people this all the time. Our Sunday night league is like the AA, AAA. It's not sanctioned. They want to come out and have a good time, but it's like that exposure. Say, hey, if you guys ever want to go and be in a sanctioned league, and it gives you that avenue to bowl in tournaments that are USBC sanctioned, and you have your average as a certified average, this is what to expect. And we kept it simple. We bowled 3 games. We cut to the top 8. If I'd have had 5 more entries, we'd have cut to the top 16. So, but who made the cut? Jordan Iwamoto was our high qualifier. It was then followed by Austin Irwin. Greg Gills, your teammate, he had a good showing.
Top 8.
J.C. Campbell, who was featured on our first episode, him and Kelly
Both made
money. And then Bobby was the 5 seed. Will Swinford, Roy Foreman. Roy shot a 699, had no handicap, and he looked at me. As I'm not kidding. I took his score and I was like, and I looked at him and he looked at me and he goes, "Well, Mike, this was a lot of fun. Appreciate you inviting me out." I said, "Roy, you might want to hang around." And I was like, 7 seed, you're in. He goes, "Oh my God, really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then rounding out top 8 was our George Davis, last season's league champion, one half of the league champions, along with Stephen McKinney. And then Miss Kelly Smith, who was with us. She cashed in 9th place. Andrew Delgado, he cashed in 10th. And Chase Shoulders rounded out the cut line to cash with 677. That led us into our bracket, our 8-person bracket. George made a deep run as the 8th seed.
Why, George?
Yeah, he went. He took out the top seed, Jordan. Then he beat number 6 seed Will, and then he fell short in the title match. And I can tell you, the title match was a lot closer than the score indicated. It was 227, 209. Those are handicap scores. Had George made 3 single pins, and again, spares are important, ladies and gentlemen. He missed 3 single pin conversions, and that essentially cost him. A lot of people don't know this too. If you miss a 10 pin, if it's a single pin, you miss a single pin, you're taking 11, 12 pins off your score. Easily. So, but yeah, Bobby and George, basically their first tournaments. And also, if I did odds on, I had Bobby at 10 to 1. I called that. So, but no, Bobby came away with $300 in the trophy. George won himself a $150. Will and Austin, the final 4 was $100 a piece. 5 through 8 was $60. Kelly earned herself $55. Andrew earned $50, and Chase earned his entry fee back.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. You have this league on Sundays. Going back to what we talked about a little bit before, not to interrupt your recap, but for someone that wants to practice, but doesn't want to bowl a full 32, 34-week season, what would you tell them?
Come join us with the 16 weeks. I mean, even though this one's not sanctioned, we got a doubles league on Wednesday night that I'm secretary over. They just became sanctioned 2 league sessions ago.
That's what I like about you know, the practice time.
Mhm.
I mean, unsanctioned, sanctioned, you got a chance to, one, win money.
Mhm.
Two, you use the unsanctioned, you don't have to worry about how high your average is, how low your average is. Use that time to practice.
Mhm.
Two, a lot of people don't know, you know, when you bowl league here at Penn Palace, correct me if I'm wrong,
I gotta know where you're going.
you get 2 free games of practice a week.
Yes.
A week, not for the season, a week.
Yeah.
You also get league rate for any additional game bowled that week.
Mhm.
So for those that say, well, I don't have time to practice, I can't do this, they don't tell you when you can and can't come in here to use those 2 games to practice.
Yeah, because they do not roll over either. You use them or lose
Yeah.
them.
So you pay for 3 games, you're bowling your league. When the lanes are open, you get 2 free games. Don't tell me you can't get better. Don't tell me there's not an opportunity, because there's plenty of opportunity. That goes for all the leagues, youth league included.
Mhm.
It's there for the taking. And, you know, and you gotta look at, you talk about myself and Mike, Wes McElroy.
Yeah,
Let me tell you,
he's on soon. We're having him on next.
awesome. And he's, you know, yes, he is the GM here at Penn Palace, but back in his day before he had back injury and whatnot, you want to talk about a bowler, and he'll tell you in a heartbeat, do this, this, and this. And if you listen, you know, so there's always someone here that can point you in the right direction. I can guarantee you that.
And the Sunday night leagues, that's the first one I've done. You know, when I got here, I wanted to do a league again, because I had done, I told you this story a bunch of times. What were they, 36 weeks, is that, or 32, or 62, I mean.
I'll put it to you like this, they usually range anywhere now, the full season leagues are 28 to 32 weeks.
Mhm.
There's even those really competitive ones, like the one I'm in on Wednesday night, that's 36 weeks.
That's what I knew back in the day during my breaking service.
Sure.
I did those 3 years in a row. But I was I lived in a house with 3 other dudes, like it was our own little frat house almost. And
Right.
we played poker and we bowled.
That's it.
That was it. But here it is, it's a lot, it's shorter, which works perfectly. You're very smart by doing this. It's only 16 weeks.
Right.
And then we did the tournament and I think a week break, and then we were right back at it.
Mhm.
So you're with virtually the same people, like Jordan, I bowled him and his dad the week after the tournament, and so we had to hear about that. So I've only done this one time,
Sure.
but I know most of the people in it now.
Right.
So whoever you're bowling with, it's like, hey, what's up, James?
Exactly.
How's the week been? How's the game going? There's not any, like, I'm trying to think of a word I could say, PG-13 or whatever, but you want to speak with all the people in the league that you're bowling against.
But you're also, you know, into that too, though, is the friends that you'll make.
Right.
I mean, this is not somebody you're gonna see in passing one time and be done with.
Mm-hmm.
You
Because
know,
the bowling community is a very close-knit community.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let us know too if we get any comments, anything,
Mhm.
you chime in.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that league is, and this is funny, I just told him this. I didn't know until like a week before the tournament that I was actually in the Damn Good Average Bowler League. I didn't know that was the name of it. But tournament day, let's finish out the recap.
Yep.
That was actually our first podcast that day.
Yes.
Damn Good Average Bowler episode 1 was that day. It went very well, I think, and
Oh,
we're
yeah.
continuing to evolve from there. So what did we leave out with the tournament? It was a great tournament. How many did we have? Did you tell us
45.
that?
45
45,
entries.
yes.
awesome.
I was paying out 1 out of 4, and I paid 11 spots.
That's great.
I loved the odds how you did that too. Everybody was in there. I was 30 to 1.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was perfectly fine with that. I think the thing I sent in our text message was the clip of Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's a chance. I was ready to go. No, but I love how you also did the underdogs.
And
And
the
then-
super dogs.
Yeah.
Well, here's the funny thing. No, here's the funny thing. Kelly, I put her as a super dog at 100 to 1. She's average. She came in there like 103 pins of handicap, and her first game was a 145.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And I'm gonna bring that into this point, and I really want to make this like I want this to be known. When you're bowling a tournament, guys, gals, everybody out there listening, if you're gonna bowl a handicap tournament, understand something. You're bowling a handicap tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, like the guy with 30 or 40 pins of handicap, and again, like we could go into sandbagging and that, and I tell people this all the time. The problem with the word sandbagger is it is an extreme gray area.
Yeah.
you know, I gave examples in our last podcast about what I personally experienced as a tournament director. And I tell you, I came up with the perfect solution. Made the shots harder and I made it scratch.
Yeah.
So that's how I dealt with it. But from the perspective of, you know, people coming up and saying, oh my goodness gracious, so-and-so's got this amount of pins. Okay, well, they do and you don't. So that says you're better than them on paper. You're better than them. So you should, and if you are better than them, even on paper and even maybe skill level wise, the last thing I'm worried about in a handicap tournament, I'm not worried about what Joe Blow has 40 pins over here. I'm not worried about whether Jill's over here with 60, and it's just not my concern. I'm focusing on my game. And at the end of the day, you have to focus on your game. You're the one rolling your shots. They're the ones rolling their shots. Okay. And to the point of, guys, a handicap bowler, and I kind of contradict myself because I get frustrated. It's like, oh my God, they beat me scratch, and I'm still giving them pins. But from the logical side, I will tell you this: handicap bowler is allowed to have the best game of the day. Because normally, and I can tell you only from my observation how to tell whether or not they are bagging or whether or not they're just had a good game. It's usually those that have 40, 50 pins above their average, and then they are just under their average for the other two.
Yeah.
The way you could probably have a case, and again, it's like we're going to court here. The way you could have a case to
It gets
identify
serious
him.
sometimes.
Yeah,
though.
oh, it does. And there's been tournaments where I personally bowled in a tournament, the Southern in Birmingham back in 2015. Shot 300 down there, by the way. That's why I bring that up. They actually had a formal protest.
Yeah.
And what happened was
Yeah.
the tournament was done like 2 weeks after us. We didn't get paid until July because somebody had submitted a formal protest to USBC. They did an investigation, and those scores from the alleged were tossed.
Wow.
And we got paid in July that
Like
year.
this was like a 3-month-old over.
Yeah. So again, you could have enough circumstantial evidence, and I have time to talk like a lawyer.
But it's again, no, it's accurate.
But it just goes to show you that if the evidence is there,
It'll come out.
it's
It'll come
going,
out.
you know,
It'll come out.
it's going to. But my thing is like I'm not here to talk about people trying to, you know, buck the system. I'm talking about at the end of the day, you're in control of what you do. If you execute and do your job, you're going to be up there.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. Do your job and do it every time and every frame, and you'll do what you do. Stop worrying about outside circumstances. Stop worrying about outside factors. And for the kids out there, please listen to the coach. You know, it's like there's a sign I seen the other day on Facebook. It says, if at first you don't succeed, try doing what your coach told you to do in the first place. So I've just always thought that was a great one.
I'm glad you said that because that is a lot of it. You know, focus on yourself. If you're concentrating on yourself and focus on yourself, things happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you start worrying about what he's doing, what she's doing, and what they're doing. You know, and don't get me wrong, I've done it before. I've counted pins.
Mm-hmm.
No, I gotta have this. I know you have.
Oh, sure.
And we're sitting there looking at it like, oh, I gotta do this now. Well, no, if you'd have been doing that the whole time, you wouldn't have to count pins. And it is what it is.
I would chime in on
So,
for us,
order in the court.
for us normies though, I would just add on to that. If you think that that's happening, I would let one of you guys know, whether it's in high school bowling or in league. Actually, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, or something like that. What I would do is take it to my authority. And if it's high school bowling, that's you.
Sure.
Hey, we think this is happening. Boom. And if I'm actively bowling or whatever, I would take it to you. Then I'm going to focus on what I have to do because I know you two know way more about that than I do. You can look into that if there is actual evidence that needs to be submitted, a high
Right.
school match, this or that.
And that's what I like about not to interrupt, that's what I like about the high school matches.
Yeah.
It's all scratch.
Yeah.
But I tell the kids, real simple. You worry about bowling.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
worry about how many we're up or down.
Yes.
Let me worry about the pins.
Yep.
You worry about picking up the spare.
Mm-hmm.
And it hadn't worked well yet. but I mean, but it's true. And,
Right.
and that's where you have to look at it. Let me do the admin part of it. You do the game.
Yeah. This is I want to know, this is kind of off topic, but same with the high school, and then we'll come back and finish. Do we have anything else for the tournament?
No, that was it. That was the tournament recap.
And then we'll move to the sweepers after this. This was this past week in Decatur, and this started to bother me. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about yet, because you and I have not spoken about this.
Okay.
But it was a good match. We came out again. This is one of those 4 probably that you were referring to earlier. We were up. We were up in the 5.
I know where you're
We were
going.
up in the Bakers game, right? And so there's a couple teams in the 11, I think you mentioned, or whatever. There's some of the high schools in this region that they have chants that they'll do. Somebody does something like blah blah blah, and like no 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 no. The pits are yelling,
Yeah.
right? And they were doing that in Decatur. The team that we were bowling, one of the teams we were bowling, it's getting very loud, which is great, enthusiasm, cool. I got it. But this is not football or baseball where you're in a dugout or something like that. You have other active members in the lanes, like right there, right there. So they're chanting while other schools' bowlers are standing on there on the approach.
Mhm.
That was really starting to bother me. Let me finish.
I am.
'Cause I'm gonna wrap this big. I'm gonna wrap my point up, and then I'll hand it to you. Because I liked what you said. It was starting to bother me.
Yeah.
I'm talking like my neck veins starting to pop. This now I was talking to another one of our bowlers' parents, who I actually clicked with. She was on the Coast Guard for 15 years. But we're all kind of like, what are they doing? And then I'm getting frustrated at the coach, because I'm thinking, this coach, get your kids under control. And one of the parents said something to you. They went up and said, hey, we're trying to bowl and they're yelling. I don't know if you remember your reply, but this is exactly what it was. And I was looking to see what you're gonna say. And you turn around in Cagle fashion, you're like, hey, you remember regionals last year? Remember how loud that was? They're gonna be all right, okay? You said that, and I was like, you were absolutely correct. We don't have to like the kids yelling next to us. But as soon as you said that, I was like, dude, you were absolutely right. Yell louder, you know, that's what I wanted to say. I hated that they were doing it, but you had such a great point. You can't control the things outside of your approach in your lane. You can't. And league gets loud, tournaments get loud, life gets loud. Focus on your shot, block all the other crap out, and throw your shot.
Right.
It's not their fault for yelling that you
Yeah.
threw a bad shot. It's not his fault for drilling a bad ball that you missed it. It's not his fault that you threw it, that you pulled it across your body. Fix the things that you can, tune all that crap. So it was, at that point I was like, this is great practice.
Yeah.
Great practice in tuning out, I'm gonna keep it PG-13.
Yeah. Oh no, it's true.
But outside distractions. So I thought that was great.
The only issue that I will ever have with a team cheering, you got to remember where they were sitting. Yes, we were unfortunate to draw the left lane for the last game. Everybody that bowled on the right lane with the boys had scored well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and it just happened to be where all
God,
boys
left
were.
lane was-
Oh, dude, it was awful. But what I was trying to get at, they're sitting there cheering on their girls because their girls still have a chance to go to regional.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, they're crossing 3 lanes, hollering for their girls. Now, had they pulled something that like they did last year, then yes, by all means, I don't care if it's my kid, if it was any of the other 7 boys that I have on the team or the girls, I would have been all up in the coach's face.
Yeah.
Respectfully, but she
doing
would
your
have
job, yeah.
because last year was totally different. You know, you don't stand behind the bowler while he's on the approach, and as soon as he lets the ball go
Right.
and scream
Uh-huh.
because you think he missed it. All right, that's unsportsmanlike.
Mm-hmm.
This,
Were
what?
they doing that last year?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good thing I wasn't here.
Well, and I don't mind
I
telling.
was twitching.
If you've ever talked to my son, you realize he's a little bit different.
Mhm.
Okay, Cliff has Asperger's,
Mhm.
so naturally he's on the spectrum.
Mhm.
So some things he don't understand, some things he does. We needed a spare to win, and he left the 3-6, and he pulled it.
Mhm.
I mean, it would have been a great pocket shot and just barely missed the 3.
Yeah.
And before the ball even got halfway down the lane, to the arrows, they're screaming. And he turned around like, what did I do? Had no clue. I lost it. I ended up apologizing to her, but I lost it. And when their general manager of the bowling center comes up and says, what's going on? And I explained it to him, he literally told them that if they did it again, that kind of sportsmanship, that he would not have them in that center as their host, as their home center. Okay. I told the kids good luck, good job. We had to have that win. That was the kicker. They knew that.
Mhm.
I went and I talked to their boys, told them congratulations, blah, 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 but I explained to them very nicely how that was unsportsmanlike and what was going on. Not one apologized to Cliff.
Is this the same school?
Yeah. So, naturally, Cliff being Cliff, as you know, now he's a year older, he's putting things together, he says, I got this. He goes, this year, it's my turn. I was like, oh crap, what's he fixing to do? And he goes over there and has the night of his life. Missed the pocket once.
He
Twice.
closed out the tent a couple times.
And you know, it got to the point to where they replaced two boys graduated. And it had gotten to the point, I don't know if you saw it, but their team literally was cheering on Cliff when he closed out the last Baker. Oh yeah, they were over there.
Well, I mean,
when
I'm
they
sure I
started, when they
remember.
were, instead of hollering for the girls,
Yeah.
Cliff just turned around and they were hollering as soon as they go to the ball, they're telling the ball to go.
Okay.
And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I can live with that. But yes, if while Branson is with me, if you get a chance to go to regionals, more so, I like to say more so the girls than the boys. But you'd have thought you was at a high school softball playoffs because everybody's cheering, everybody's doing, and the only time I would have had a problem is if they would have been hollering directly at our kids while they were on the approach. But because they were cheering for their own, I don't have a problem with that.
And it never did seem like they were doing it on purpose,
They
waiting for somebody to
Right,
go.
exactly. And that's what I was trying to explain to the mother.
Yeah.
Because she was there with her daughter
Yeah.
the last time we made it to regionals in Tuscaloosa. And the two loudest teams down there were actually cheering us on because neither one of them could stand the other team. So, you know, and it's fun. And I've had to explain to my wife, I've had to explain to other parents, look, wear earplugs. I said, because I'm not going to tell these kids or confront a coach unless they're directly yelling at one of our players while they're on their approach.
Yeah.
That's uncalled for. Cheering for your team and being loud, that's your business. You know, and I don't have an issue with that. So that's why I knew where you were going with that.
Yeah.
And I had to explain that to that dad at work the next day. You know, I was like, dude, let me tell you.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
so,
we weren't happy back there.
yeah, I know.
But I heard you say that, and immediately, like a sense of calm went through me, and I'm like, you're absolutely right.
I mean, ask Mike. I mean, when the last 2 years they've had the tournament here.
Oh my gosh, I had to work that day. That was the Rocket City.
Yes.
Because I
Spartan
texted you.
tournament.
Yeah. How many high schools were in that?
They-
26?
So they only had
Or more?
They only had three sets of lanes that were open.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean, so it's a full house.
They were. I hadn't seen these before, but like
Stair steps.
stair-step stadium seats, where I don't know how high off the ground they are, but you're sitting, your butt is at this level.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a couple parents that day that had those, I call them tennis court judge
Yeah,
seats.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was like.
If you ever get a chance to see that, I mean, just wait. I mean, the teams in south of Birmingham,
Yeah.
they've got it decorated. He had a thing on the front that said, the school logo and all this. And I'm like, dude, get your butt down before you fall. But it is what it is. So, but yeah.
That was, oh man, and I can't believe we lost that.
No, trust me.
Anyway,
Trust me.
let's move on here.
Our host is getting in his feelings, folks.
Fields. Because we just lost it 2 weeks earlier with another school here.
Look, I equate it to throwing, watch the guy throw the first 8 strikes in a row.
Not me.
Not this guy.
Not me. Not this guy.
Then he goes back-to-back opens and shoots 220.
Oh!
Dude.
Now, he was a really good, this guy was a really good sport about it. He came up to me, he said, Mike, I don't know what happened. I said, sometimes that's why the cookie crumbles, my friend.
Oh gosh.
That's rough.
That's like shooting 791 because you bury a 2 bucket.
Oh, well, that's a little worse than
If Nathan is watching this.
Oh my gosh, no, yeah.
Hang on, if Nathan is watching this, and he's my teammate, so I can tell
love
the
it.
story.
Love to death.
How about front 11?
Oh,
Ooh.
He needs 6 for 8.
don't do that to him.
And he leaves, he gets half of them. He goes 295, 799. I can honestly say, I can honestly say this though. I don't think ever in my entire life I've ever shot 799. I've never shot 799.
I've never come close to that. What these guys are talking.
Sorry, Nathan, I didn't
Work
bring
with
it
your
up.
handicap, you'll get
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Oh,
No, but I mean,
That's
it's
rough.
just like,
It happens.
again,
It
what
happens.
is-
Yeah.
the point to it is, it's like I said, you cannot worry about outside factors.
No.
You can only do what you can do within your own perimeter.
You're right.
And that's a great thing about these leagues, and also we started ain't sanctioned.
I say that.
That's
Hashtag ain't sanctioned.
I haven't done a sanctioned one here, but the one I did before this league, the high school games, this and that, within bowling itself. Now again, this is a generalization. Most of the time, when you're bowling, even the sweeper we did in Montgomery, I didn't know any of those people,
Right.
but everybody was so cool. Because it's almost like we're all going through this together.
Yeah.
so you get to know the people in those two lanes, and you're so worried about your game, like most of us. It's like, I may glance at your score,
Right.
especially if you're stringing or something like that, but I'm more worried about each of my next shots.
Yes.
I'm worried about my game to necessarily look like, oh, this a-hole's running, or like, oh, look, this guy sucks,
Yeah.
or something like that. I'm worried about either,
Sure.
with my game, however that can happen. And it's great because, again, in our tournament, in our Sunday night league, there's some straight bowlers in there.
Right.
We mentioned the one in the cash,
I mean, if you can be consistent in doing what you do it.
yeah. I got killed by a straight bowler one night. I mean, she was just picking everything up that night.
Well, and again, it just comes back down to it. It's just like, guys, you gotta, at the end of the day, you're gonna run into that person that on paper you should have their number 9 times out of 10, and they're gonna have the game or the series of their life, and there's nothing you can do about it except tip your hat, shake their hand, tell them good job, and just move on. Another example I'll give you, Tony and Nathan, about a month ago,
Yes.
dueling 300s.
Lord
I have it on our
mercy.
TikTok page if you want to go view that, by the way. Tony lost by 2 because Nathan had 5 sticks and he had 3. It
Yeah.
was 305 to 303.
Oh, there's the 3+.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, for these big handicap bowlers in these leagues like that, it's fine because chances are they're going to even out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every so often, like you said, they're going to have their night,
Yeah.
and it's going to happen. Sometimes it happens more often than me and Mike, but it happens. But it is what it is. Like you said, tip your cap, tell them good job,
Mhm.
because the better he bowls, the higher his average goes.
Mhm.
It's going to even out.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, and if you want to complain about it, then come on down here and bowl some more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to practice.
Well, I'll tell you this, okay, and that again, not gonna mention names, but I will say this, and it's a testament to them. I had a couple come to me about the Sunday night when we did the tournament. They were like, what's going on here? I said, okay, well, what's going on here is, again, it goes back to what I said. If you're going to a handicap tournament, it's a handicap tournament. Just
Right.
get over
Right.
it. That's all I can tell you.
Mhm.
But I proposed the alternative to them. Well, here's a scratch sweeper for you. Oh, and by the way, it's on a really, really super tough package too. So,
Mhm.
another thing I can tell you guys too, damngoodaverage.bowler.net is almost entirely complete. Morgan's working on the store page right now for me. I will tell you this too, we are posting results from our sweepers on there in the
Nice.
tournament tab, so damngoodaverage.bowler.net, go check it out.
Awesome.
And also I'm doing weekly, bi-weekly, or just anytime I get a wild goose hair of my, in my head about a thought or something. I didn't really say that right, but you guys know what I'm saying. But we did a poll, I did a poll on Facebook.
Yeah, saw that.
And they were like, I was asking everybody, what ball do you want Michael to drill up
Oh,
next?
yeah.
And everybody decided to pick the new blue hammer.
Oh,
Because it's not your thing? Being you?
It's not your thing. Yes. It's not your thing. But I'm going to give that a shot. I got one. I got to drill it up. And you guys should be seeing a video of it here soon. A couple of shorts and everything. And we got a lot of great stuff coming up. I just talked to Churchy today. Churchy's going to do an episode with us.
Awesome.
And that's going to be
That's gonna be-
an entire episode with Tony. And again,
I need a front row seat.
I don't know if you guys saw the results I posted on Facebook, but I call Tony the timeless wonder.
Dude, every bit of it. It's a machine.
Again, when you're here on a Wednesday night, I didn't get a chance to point him out to you, probably because I wasn't having a good night on Wednesday. So I wasn't really
You can tell he's not. So it's
But I will
fine.
tell you, but here's another thing too. You actually be here Wednesday night, our team's bowling their team.
Nice.
So haven't
He's-
decided.
I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
Dude,
no.
you wanna talk about consistency.
Mhm.
You wanna talk about just, I mean, you tell him he's frustrated, but he lets it go the next shot.
Mhm.
What I talked about before. He's the epitome of just, like I said, consistency and just staying within himself. I mean, it's awesome.
I use Tony as the example. It's like you'll never see anybody throw the ball the exact same way twice like he does. It is effortless.
It is
and
fun to watch.
It is simplistic. And again, I mean, like, go.
No, I
why
understand.
go? No,
You have to see it.
why
Yeah.
go?
You have to see it.
Why go against the grain when it's working?
Yep.
And I guess that's another lesson to lead us into. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix
That's
it.
right.
I just want to touch again, because we've said consistency a lot today.
Mhm.
I've written it down more than once today. But I want, like, what we're trying to get across, meaning by this, is true consistency. There is no deviation of movement. Every single aspect is the same in the movement. That's so difficult to do. I mean,
Yeah.
you were kind of at a loss for words explaining him.
Mhm.
I'm kind of at a loss for trying to explain this. Just true, like what they're talking about, true consistency. It's so hard
Mhm.
for normal or regular people, or to get to that level.
Yeah.
Really, is what we're talking about. To get there.
I'm gonna slightly disagree with you.
Okay.
And I bring up this point. If you want to do it, you're going to do it. If you're that determined, you're going to do it.
Eventually
And if
you'll
you're,
get
and
there.
if you're, I mean, no, you will, as long as you continuously try and don't give up on yourself. I see
sure,
too.
yeah.
I see too many kids. I see too many adults. They're just like, you know. Again, I just don't. I don't believe in the. I don't believe in the, you know, come out here and Rome's built in a day philosophy. I do not believe in that.
Right.
And to their credit, to the anomalies out there, the Derrick Henrys of the world, you know, football reference, HA. There's not many anomalies in bowling. That, you know, I mean, like, I guess, you know, I can't think of a pro that just, other than, I mean, Bell knows a once in a generation talent.
Right.
You know, for the pros, but I mean, again, it's just, if you want to do it, you can do it. That's my point. I'm getting off base.
I'm just confused on what you're disagreeing with. What aspect you're disagreeing with? Just for understanding.
I just think that if you really want it bad enough, you'll get there.
Right.
Yeah. And if you don't, then you won't.
Did I make a different point?
But it's
Maybe I misunderstood.
Maybe I didn't explain it right.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Because I can.
Well, what I was gonna say next is no. I think I must have said it incorrectly, or I didn't explain it well enough. Because
Let's try this again.
Well, no. This
No.
is
I want to understand.
Yeah. This is what we're here for. So the last thing I was gonna say was, have you heard of the 10,000 hour thing? You do something for 10,000 hours. That's
Right.
in general what it takes to become an expert or master in something.
Okay.
The
all right.
10,000 hours.
Okay.
You can't get that true consistency. First off, how difficult the true consistency is to get there.
Mm-hmm.
To get there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, looking like a Norm Duke.
I'm on.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I'm on board with
That's
you.
of like the 10,000
Yeah.
hour thing. That's why I was kind of like, okay, this should be fascinating. No, not ready to argue. I'm just
No.
like, wow, I want to know what.
I see where Mike's going.
Yeah,
and I
1,500
understand it.
repetitions, and it's like a 10,000 hour.
It's that repetition.
Right,
1,500
right.
1,500
Yeah.
repetitions before
Right.
it becomes muscle memory.
Correct.
Philosophy.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's.
I am on board with you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was
No, I
like,
just wanted to know, hey, I'll learn all the time.
Ooh, exit stage left.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I
No,
think
no,
that
no,
we
I
talked
was-
about that.
No, but that's true. I mean, because I can sit here and watch Mike bowl day after day after day and tell myself, I can throw it just as hard as he can. I can throw it the same way.
Yeah.
But until I sit there, no, I mean, I'm being honest.
I know.
But until I sit there and do it over and
Mhm.
over and over and over
Mhm.
again, it ain't gonna happen.
No.
But that's just like everybody else coming to me and say, dude, you're gonna break your elbow.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. It's because this is that muscle memory. This is what I'm learning.
Mhm.
But everybody else is like,
Yours is tame compared to some I've seen.
oh yeah.
Yours is
But
tame.
back in the day when I would plant and do it, you would think that my elbow was over on lane 10.
Yeah.
And I'm standing on 2. You know, but it was just the way I threw the ball.
Mhm.
It was released. I'm a big boy. You got to get around it somehow.
Yeah.
You know, but that's how I compensated. But like you said, muscle memory.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to the point of throwing it the same way.
And you don't have to think about it
No,
anymore.
no.
That's how you get that consistency, because you're really not thinking.
Right.
And just to touch on the conversation we said, that's why it's so great to have egos at the door, because they're like, well, what did you say? No, it's just like, hey, I might learn something here, let me listen. And then we got back on the same page very easily. A lot of people don't have the ability to do that.
Right. No, you're
You
exactly
know.
right.
It's like, how dare you?
No, yeah, I was ready to learn.
We're going 007.
Yes. Okay, sweepers.
Yeah.
We're need to get through some stuff here because we're having a lot of fun. Thank you for tuning in, by the way. Thanks for joining us. We got YouTube and Facebook going. We're going to be on Instagram soon. We're working on that.
Working
Things to
on
come. We're not tuning off yet, but thanks for being here, Coach Cagle.
No doubt.
Let's talk about the scratch sweepers we got going on. We have some updates.
Yes.
How that's been going. The future of that, how it's going along. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We had one today.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to get out of the boot first.
Yeah.
And then rolling. I'm not in it today.
I see that. I heard reference to it earlier. and
Just
I'm
trying
like,
to
oh,
get
yeah,
the
he's nuts.
swelling, you know, if I keep the shoe on, swelling stays down.
Well, while he's
And I'm
pulling
one
that up,
step
why don't you
closer.
give us an update on the actual, you broke your toes.
Broke some toes at work, had a couple spools of wire, 35, 40 pounds, fall off a pallet, crushed a toe, broke a toe, fractured a toe.
Wow.
So,
Just the whole enchilada.
dude, it took, the first doctor I see says, hey, you got a fracture and a break. 8 days later, they get me in, workman's comp, get me in to TOC, doctor says, oh yeah, 3 is gonna grow back. It may be, the tip may be a little bit deformed, but it's gonna grow back. You know, the fracture looks great.
Oh, that's
Okay,
good.
so I'm thinking, hey, 2, that's all I got. Fine, so I go back the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, you know, I'm in this booth working. I walk in with the lady, and his physician's assistant says, let's look at your x-rays. Okay, I'm thinking, well, lady, you ain't taking any yet. That's okay, so I let her look for him, and she goes, it won't let me click on them. I said, well, if you're talking about today, they might want to take them first. And she says, they ever come got you? I said, no, ma'am, I've been sitting in here for 30 minutes. She's like, I'll be right back. They take me down, get it done, and they come back, and she goes, oh yeah, you know, we count on, you know, the big toe is digit 1. I said, okay, so digit 3 is the break. She goes, yeah, it's filling in, it's looking good, it's gonna heal right. All right, great. She goes, 4, you can barely see the fracture, that's growing back perfect. I say, okay. And she goes, in 5, I said, oh, wait a minute. What do you mean 5? I said,
That's the little pinky.
yeah, Dr. 1 and 2 said, 2. That's a break and a fracture. She goes, oh, well, your pinky is broke straight across. It got smashed. She zoomed in on, sure enough, there's a crack all the way across. I mean, the break. And I'm like,
2 doctors before had seen this and didn't
Yeah.
catch it.
the one making the big bucks. I'm like, yeah, okay. So she said, wear this at the house, wear this at work until you can wear a shoe without swelling.
That was your boot?
Yeah. So you know, I went the other day, I wore the other boot out.
Mm-hmm.
So I have it to where it worked, but yeah, I thought, well, let me try this with the shoe. I ain't supposed to drive with the boot on. If you are a police officer, so yes, I have the boot. I wear it to work, put it on, wear it in the warehouse, and then I wear it down here to the bowling center for the kids to keep from smashing and dropping balls and whatnot. And so hopefully the day after Christmas, I'll be out of the boot.
All right.
And the thing is, as soon as I come out of it and can wear the shoe without swelling, then I can start bowling again.
Nice.
So we're shooting for January 1.
All right.
So we'll see. So
All right. Good to hear it.
yeah,
It's gonna look weird to not see you in a boot.
you're right. And then I get in here and donate some
Got
cash.
him one of those? Did you see his?
I did.
Yeah, he's still wearing shoes.
Yeah,
I know.
That's
That's
still on.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Day one.
we'll see.
I got your results when you're ready.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
So, well, Mike, why don't you take it away, man? Talk about the sweepers kind of general. Give us kind of how we've gotten to where we're at now and in the future of the sweepers. But first, we'll start off by talking about the one today.
Yeah, would y'all like to take a guess who won?
Already
Tony
knows what I
Turchi.
get.
Tony Turchi.
I was here.
He is our first. He's our first 2-time winner. So we will
Nice.
now have a wild card based on points. Take one of the top 16 spots. So cool fact today too. Ricky Graham came all the way down out of the cash line
Mhm.
with a 279.
Nice.
Had a solid 10 pin that
Nice.
cost him his potential
Nice.
300
Oh,
bid.
wow.
Jumped him all the way up to second.
Now, what pattern were we on today?
Krypton, 43 feet. So it was longer. Chuck Ford, last week's winner, he come back again today and finished third. So another cash for Mr. Ford.
Nice.
And Tim Lindsay rounded out the cash line at 576. Nicholas Delgado, he had a third game collapse that knocked him out of the money. Nicholas, we gotta get you a
Come on,
spare ball,
Nick.
buddy.
We gotta get his haircut.
Yeah.
Another thing
Why
I
do
do,
these see haircuts?
another big time prop I do want to give a shout out to is Michael McAnally. Michael has been out here bowling on these patterns, and only guy I can tell you is he comes out here, he shoots a 50 and a 98, he still comes out. So Mike, really
Good
appreciate
man. Good for
you.
you.
Really appreciate your.
It will pay off.
Yeah.
And
good job.
but I want to give a shout out to him because he had his highest, his personal best finish in sixth with a 527.
Nice.
So proud of you, my friend. And high game, we paid out $40 per game, and Chuck was game one winner with 217. Michael Wilburn, he got a cash $40 for his second game of 220, and Ricky Graham rounded out with his 279.
Very nice.
So we paid out the top four. That is going to lead me in my computer. I'm really sorry, my computer's
Not a
slow.
problem at all.
That leads us into points. I have the points updated. So let me get those for y'all real quick.
Now, I'm a bit of a moron, as I've said a few times. And I'm learning a lot of this stuff, because I've been around bowling forever. I remember bowling when I was a kid and everything. But true bowling knowledge I'm getting since I got here and being
Right.
exposed to you guys. And there's a lot to it. Are you ready? I was just
Oh, no.
Man. Go ahead.
So Mr. Churchy is the points leader, which, to be honest,
figure.
So Churchy, Jeff Heath, Ricky
Yeah.
Graham, Joseph Abernathy, Mike Randall, Chuck Ford, and Michael Robbins, everybody but Ricky, minus Ricky, all of them have won our stops. Tony's the only multiple time winner, so Ricky gets the nod into our top 32 based on points, and he is the wild card leader right now, so he has that spot locked up. Our top 32 is actually our top 38, so if you bowled at least 2 sweepers, you are still in the top 32 cut for the final tournament. Cool thing I came up with, this is our season-ending event is going to be called the Clash at the Palace.
Yes, I love that.
The only thing that's going to be different, we're still going to do our 3 games of qualifying, but then we're going to take the top 5 and we're going to have stepladder finals.
Nice.
We will broadcast that. I'm sure Dustin, he'll be here to give you guys the call.
I'll do a commentary.
Absolutely. Best commentary man right now in the business.
Thank you.
So,
Well, I think second to Randy Peterson, probably. He's not bad. Never mind, I'm the best. Thank you, thank
just
you.
don't leave an 8 pin. You might have Ernie Cagle running around on you going, I don't believe it.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, but no, we've bowled 7 sweepers. We got our last sweeper is next week for the year. We're gonna take a 2-week break because Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. There is a possibility I may pull a rabbit out of the hat and do a New Year's Eve tournament. I have to talk to Wes.
That'd be really cool.
Kind of come up with a different type of format. I have not done a plastic ball only tournament in a while. I might do that.
Can I ask a question? This is probably just for my own ignorance.
Mhm.
I guess, why would you do one of those? Like, in a sense of what are you, I'm curious, what would be the point of that to, like, I know that you're for, you can only use plastic ball, that's the point of it. But, I guess, how, is that relevant to anything? Why would you want to throw just a plastic ball?
Okay, so.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes
Okay.
it makes absolute sense. To answer your question
Yes.
though, the people that bowled on the tour back in the 70s and 80s,
Mhm.
they didn't have reactive resin. They were using plastic balls.
Like dot,
Like yellow dot.
blue dot.
And basically, if you ask any traditional bowler, or I don't mean disrespect, but old timers,
Thank you.
they will tell you. They will say. Well, here's the thing, that their era of bowling is different than the era of bowling now.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
People like Mark Roth, Earl Anthony,
Basically, they
Don Johnson,
pretty much if they have an oil pattern named after them, those guys.
Well,
yeah,
it-
and
I
Don
mean, yeah.
Carter,
So-
Dick Weber.
When's the last time you bowled on wood lanes? Have you ever bowled on wood lanes?
I don't even know. I don't think so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as bowling evolved,
Mhm.
it was wood lanes. It was plastic balls.
Mhm.
It was hard rubber, Manhattan rubber bowling
Mhm.
balls. That's when you first heard the word urethane.
Mhm.
You know, and
Oh, urethane was the big
Yeah,
thing.
oh, that
big,
was,
big.
and you can look at it now, people think they need to throw urethane now. I'd pay to see them try to throw it back on wood.
Mhm.
I mean, it was just how everything's evolved. Now you
Right.
have everything is synthetic.
Yeah.
I think what we have, the only thing left out here wood is the approaches. So it's just that style. And it's fun to watch. And when he says plastic ball, no, that was me bowling youth. It was on wood lanes. Plastic ball was great. Let me tell you, I love a yellow dot.
The first thing that came to mind, I used to play Tecmo Bowl on Nintendo. And my boys are playing that now on the Switch, except now the version they play is called Retro Bowl.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah.
You want Bo Jackson can just run back and forth. If we,
Hey, Bo Jackson.
yeah, I think that would be cool. We could do some type of Retro Bowl.
Well, that's
With
pretty
plastic
much
balls.
what
That's pretty much what it is.
It's pretty
Yeah.
much what it is. And
Yeah.
basically, you're taking the advance of technology out of play.
I
and
like that.
You're really trying to emphasize more. And again, it's not a knock.
No, I
It's
completely
just,
get
it's
it.
just,
Yeah.
it comes down to like, for example, reactive resin bowling balls on house shots. Let's just say like, we'll give you this much area, okay?
You really want to see a ball hook? Here we go. We're gonna do this ball.
So like, just so you see it, so like an area of this much, which means you can hit over here, and you're probably still gonna hit the pocket,
Mhm.
okay? Now, let's take that all the way with a plastic ball.
Mhm.
Now,
You got four.
same thing in the sense of like on a sports shop,
Mhm.
you're bowling in a phone booth.
Yep.
You have a limited area. And what comes down with that? That comes down to, what skill level are you truthfully? No insult to anybody out there, but I'm saying, like, what is the skill level?
You've heard that
So-
phrase, stranger is greater?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, okay, just to give you an example, so like, for example, I average 230 on a house shot.
Mhm.
By standards, that means I should be around 170, 180 on sports shot.
Right.
That's the gauge. And the last sports shot league we did, I was happy, like, I averaged 192. I
Yeah.
was thrilled. I was like, this is great. And we bowled in 4 different patterns. We bowled like
Wow.
12 weeks.
Mhm.
And we bowled on the
Yeah.
same pattern for 3 weeks, then we switched, the next
Yeah.
3, the next 3, the next 3. And 2 of them were sport, 2 of them were challenge. I don't emphasize too much on challenge patterns because, I like to watch the world burn as some of my friends have told me. I did a tournament one time where we were doing 4-game format, 8 different oil patterns.
I love it.
I did it back in 2016, like 8 sport patterns. Like one lane had a pattern, every lane had a different
Right.
pattern. And Will Holden, our very own Will
Yeah.
Holden, bowled that back in the day and won in 4 games, shot 734.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's minus 66
Yep.
for all the people that do the score for bowling. Yeah. So again, and another thing is too, is on the sweepers, the last week of our sweeper will be featured on a special pattern called, I like to call it goal line. Wait till you see how they get played that day. And if my buddy Kyle, my teammate Kyle comes out and bowls in it, he'll pretty much tell me I'm an evil SOB for putting this oil pattern out. But I'm really curious, for those that are looking at the schedule, the week before is the pattern called Misery. And yours truly right here is responsible for that oil pattern.
Yes,
What?
sir. Just to give you a heads up, may I?
No, please do, absolutely.
So, I got this pattern from a friend of mine down in South Alabama.
And the name of it's Misery.
The name of it's Misery.
Love
And
it.
he ran a sweeper in the big city of Auburn, Alabama. And the reason he named it Misery was that he said that he had men shooting 80, 85, 90 and crying about it. So we used this pattern. last year for the Motive Youth Southern Shootout down in Montgomery. 100 and some odd kids, different age groups and whatnot. And I saw 65, I saw 70. And
I feel like I have to ask really quick.
Sure.
Whose call was it to put the misery oil pattern down for these 100 children?
It was when he got the sponsors. And when I say he got sponsors, I'm talking about these age groups. He had 3 age groups for the guys, 3 age groups for the girls. And the stuff that was being awarded, not just scholarship money, but Motive bowling balls, signed autographed jerseys,
Nice.
from professionals, you know, throughout. And he did it in a stepladder format for the top 5. So all of these kids, and even if you did place, depending on, like you hear Mike say, 1 out of 4 was cashing.
Yep.
He had money going into their smart account like it was nobody's business.
Wow.
So he was like, if they're going to win something,
They're gonna win it.
they're gonna earn it.
Yeah.
And I seen kids lofting gutter caps. I seen plastic balls being thrown from the left side to the right side and hitting the pocket, and of course glancing, not driving. You know, you didn't see big scores.
Right.
You know, even after the breakdown, it made it worse. But they earned this. So I seen the shot. It's not pretty. You know, I think Cliff bowled on it.
How do you do?
His highest game, he shot 180.
Wow.
But he also shot 100
Yeah.
a couple of times.
So our US Open, the second week that I did these sweepers, the winner was 542. So what should we expect the winning score to be on that
Oh,
pattern?
boy.
Because 542 is just above 180.
Yeah. You know, you might see 500.
And that's for 3 games?
Yeah. You might see 500. You know, but now if somebody figures it out quick, and the problem is the transition.
Like you said, it's worse after it breaks down.
Yes, and that was the issue, is these kids had no clue. You know, and these were and I'm talking about, now these were, Nicholas Delgado bowled on it.
And Nick's a good bowler.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt
Yes,
you
go
guys,
ahead.
but I want to make a little shout out here. Matthew Clayton's on our Facebook feed. He bowled in the TVT tournament today, and said he made it to the round of 8. And Jonathan Bertram, my good buddy JB,
Yeah.
you met him yesterday. He shot 299 on him.
Shut up.
Oh.
He
Did you guys in your
said,
pro
he
shop
said,
this year?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
He said Bertram beat me 299, 239 in the round of 8 to knock me out of TVT, then proceeded to shoot 170 in the round
Shut
of 4.
up.
But overall, Matt said he went 215, 243, 259, 248, 239,
Good
269, 239.
For the brand.
Curtis says for the brand.
Yeah.
And he said basically he would finish 5th, spent a total of 100 and brought home 180. So
There you go.
good showing there, my friend.
Did he happen to mention who took that?
First place was $1,000. Okay, you know what? I'll check with him right now.
Nice.
Good bowl.
While you're checking, let's keep moving. Let's come back to a little bit. It's a circle. And we go from the retro bowl. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for answering my question.
Yeah,
And
yes.
that was
There's no doubt.
beautiful answer. I love the point of that. That's so we're gonna have the retro bowl. I'm gonna call it the retro bowl every time we talk about it.
Okay.
We talked about where it came from, and we talked about where we're at right now. You know where we're going next.
Yep.
Let's talk about the potential state of bowling over the next several years.
You know,
It is for both of you guys.
Yeah, it's you know, and it all ties in together. What we've talked about, you know, all day is real simple. If what I'm seeing from my perspective of seeing the youth bowling, seeing the high school bowling and whatnot, it does honestly have me worried. I mean, you have the adults that are going to bowl, you know, and you have people that move in because we have Restaurant Arsenal, we have, you know, different large corporations, and if there's bowlers, that's great, they're going to bowl. But what I'm seeing, you know, going back to the numbers, you know, 18 bowlers at Penn Palace for youth.
Yeah.
You know, 48 out in Madison, 17, actually 16 because one bowl's double out at the Arsenal. You know, I mean, for 3 centers and what we have, you're looking at what, 70 kids total. I mean, if they lose interest, then the number's going to go down. you know, and then if nobody's pushing it, the numbers are gonna go down. You know, so that's what I'm afraid of, that's what I'm seeing is now, Mike will tell you, you know, when I was bowling youth, oh no, we had a full house, you know.
Two
Mike was
shifts.
bowling, yeah, exactly.
2 shifts.
Yeah, Parkway had 2 shifts, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And these kids weren't missing a week and showing up for 2 weeks and missing 2 weeks. These kids were showing up every week. You know, at least what I'm saying here, they are diligent enough to ask, hey, I'm gonna be out of town, can I pre-bowl?
Yeah.
Or can I post-bowl? That's fine. But the fact is, if we don't get these kids and get their friends in here and it grow, then you're gonna see that dwindle. And you're seeing more and more senior leagues pop up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, all of these other leagues that you have, you know, other than like All-Star League, Huntsville Men's, some of the higher paying leagues, if you will, you know, they're gonna start getting smaller. And then what I'm afraid, you know, over the next several years, is you're gonna see more and more entertainment centers come in
Yeah.
and take over, and then what do you have left for leagues? You know, and it's just, and that's what I'm afraid of. I just hate to see that, you know.
To your point, I think one of the things that is detrimental is options, choice. Like kids today have so many options,
Right.
as far as like extracurricular activities, like after school activities. A lot more than I remember having when I was in high
Oh, yeah.
school.
Oh, yeah.
A lot more.
Dude, we had Southern Adventure,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a putt on right here across the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
No longer there.
Mm-hmm.
No longer there. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that's all we had.
Right.
You know, or you was hanging with your friends.
Mhm.
Chances were, if you're hanging with your friends, you were at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
You're at the skate rink.
Mhm.
Well, now the skate rinks
Yeah.
are now leaving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, so I agree.
I don't
yeah,
know what
it's-
skating ring there is now that I went to.
No.
I mean, I used to go roller skating a lot when I was like
They
7,
closed both of them
8,
down,
9,
Carousel
yeah.
and
Rainbow,
Yeah.
Carousel, Rainbow, and even Skate
Yeah,
Ices
down
now.
there. Yeah. Planet Fitness.
Planet
now.
Fitness now. Yeah.
Don't get me started.
So-
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I just think that the options and choices that, you know, kids have, and another thing I think that is detrimental is now, parents are having to work twice as much
Yeah.
to provide for their families. And I think that, again, that falls into the economics, it can fall into the economical effect. I hope I said that
Yeah,
word
you know,
right.
so. I think so.
But I like what they've done though.
Yeah.
Now, Penn Palace has allowed it to where we do a split season.
Mhm.
So you can bowl the first half,
Yeah.
I mean, it's $12 a week. If you wanna come back and bowl the second half, that's great,
Mhm.
you know, but it still allows your child to get a sanctioned average,
Mhm.
bowl in a tournament that's sanctioned,
Right.
still try to win this, you know, this money that's out there for them, the scholarship money. But, you know, you would think, and you are correct, I mean, it's hard enough. I've got 2 in college, you know, I've got one that's not necessarily homeschool, but virtual, but yet, you know, still, I've gotta work that much harder to get them through school and
Yeah.
whatnot. But
The pressure points are there.
you can literally though, take this time, that $12 that you're gonna be spending on something else, get your kid in here, your grandkid, whatnot, you know where they are. You get to watch them, you get to be a part of it.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, and that's another thing, you know, family time, where we don't get to spend time together. Well, what better way to do it than coming down and seeing your kid, your grandkid do something
Right.
that they like to do.
Right.
So, I mean,
And I've seen that with you guys, because grandma and grandpa's there.
oh, they're always here.
all the time.
Always.
And I like what Curtis mentioned when he was sitting with us on the panel before the last show or whatever.
Mhm.
He talked about being able to see 2 and 3 and now 4 generations
Right.
come through the
Sure.
alley.
Right.
And that tends to, because that's why I like to bowl. I remember going bowling as a kid, you know, my dad taking us, and then I would bowl in high school. I taught myself to curve
Sure.
way back then. And then that was just a thing that, you know, the boys, mom and I would go do. We wanted to go bowl, we'd take the boys bowling. They could,
Right.
from the time they could push the thing down.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess it comes back to, this could be hypothetical if not, but again, you got ideas out there, reach out, let us know. How can we get more kids into bowling?
Yeah.
That, you know, there lies the rub.
I think again, it comes down to, I mean, good old fashioned PR.
Yeah.
I think another thing that would help, just my opinion only, back when I was youth bowling, the parents were, I say over involved, but no,
no, very nicely phrased.
But
I know what
it
you
was over involved, but it was a good over involved.
Yes.
Right.
And what I mean by that, to elaborate on that, the coaches would meet with the parents and would actually say, hey, here's what we got going on. Like before we came on the air, you guys were talking about getting your boys into the city tournament,
Right.
and you were organizing it. It's going to take more of those people doing the little details and the small things
Sure.
to lead to the big things and understanding the importance of it. Because I remember when we were like, okay, city tournament's coming up. City tournament was a big deal to me. It was a really big deal, you know. Like, and I mean, it's funny you were talking about city tournament coming up and everything, because it's like the other day I was going through all the stuff. I found plaques that me and Wes won
Nice,
when
that's
I was
awesome,
a
dude.
kid. You know, it's like me, like my name, Wes McElroy, and to their credit, they spelled Michael right. They used to always spell it EAL, and I did. I throw it in the chat. It was like, no, but they spelled it right to me, and I kept it, and it's just like, it's a really nice keepsake. But again, the importance, and again, choice has a lot to that, and you know, there's a lot of tangible benefits for bowling, and one of the biggest benefits is anybody can do it.
Right.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what your size is. It doesn't
Sure.
matter what your weight is. It doesn't matter. I mean, like, somebody's going to play football. Again,
There's a
look,
Unless you're the kicker.
and, I mean, yeah, but my thing is like, and again, I don't know where this official stat came from, but somebody told me one time, it said, the kids that play high school football, 1% of that entire outlook of kids
Sure.
playing high school football is going to make it to the pros. 1%.
Exactly.
And maybe 5 or 10% of them are actually going to get offered D1, you know, football scholarships. So the thing about it is, again, it's not like, you know, and again, I'm not sitting here trying to say, hey, you're limited because you're not a certain size or a certain weight or a certain caliber. I'm not. Hey, guess what? Darren Sproles made a hell of an NFL career, and
Right.
he was like, you know,
Sure.
5'7", 5'8", whatever. He was making. I'm not saying you can't do it, but my point is like the percentages of that leads me back to bowling. Anybody can get out here and do it. And biggest tip I can give the kids watching right now, that I can tell you, be coachable. And I think that goes for any sport.
Yeah.
Be coachable. I
for
watched
anything in life.
yes, absolutely. I watched a clip of a high school football coach, looked at his kid and said, we've done everything we can for you and you're still not listening to us, you're still not getting it, so I don't know what else I can do to help you. So what do you need from us? And the kid's, oh no, you know, just in his feelings and stuff. He's like, okay, well, if you don't know, I can't help you, so
Right.
go ahead and go. There's that tough love and everything, but it's just, be coachable. Get him, like, you know, and I just think it's gonna take a lot more of a conscious effort from all the parents. I would love to see high school coaches like yourself. I would like to see the adults running the youth programs, like go out and like talk to other people in the community, just like you said, you know, get out in the community and make yourself known. I don't know that not a lot of people, you know, there's people that come in here bowling for the first time and it's like, how long has this building been here? It's been here since the 60s. Oh, this is the first time I've
I
ever
didn't
seen
know
it.
I've been here that long.
Yeah.
And that's my
Exactly.
thing. See, so again, like just little things, word of mouth, PR, get it out there, encourage it. And I think again, it's like you said to people earlier, that there's a certain amount of, you know, on the bowling team, maybe it should be required that, hey, you need to go bowl your youth league.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's just like, I mean, maybe that's pushing the envelope, but I think you see what I'm saying with. But it's like, okay, well, you know, if you're really enjoying this, then get out here and bowl league, you know, keep yourself at it, you know.
Right.
It's like, which one of y'all said earlier, it's a source of practice.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, you know, and that's what they don't understand. You know, well, I can't do this. I'm not getting any better. Well, whose fault is that? You know, it's just like if you want to play golf, that's great. You're not going to do it overnight.
Right.
You know, I mean, some kids are athletes. I understand that.
Yeah.
But he's a football player. Okay, that's cool. Can he play tennis? Can he play baseball? Can he play soccer? No, he loves to use his hands.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's fine. But if you practice hard enough in anything,
Yeah.
you can do it. And that's what I'm telling these kids. Why are you sitting on the bench? Yeah, I heard a parent say that. Why aren't you getting a bowl? Well, I'm not as good as the rest of them. Well, why not? I don't know. I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But, you know, and I wanted to turn around and say, if he would put more effort in trying, as opposed to wanting to talk to the girls, would be great. And that's the problem. Too many distractions, like you said, out there. But if you're gonna come and bowl, especially high school, then I need that 110% commitment. And I know you've heard me, and I've told them after every match, if and actually at the beginning, if I ask you at the end, did you give me 110%, and you can say yes, I will not say one word. But if you cannot, then you better have a reason as to why. And there are some on the team that don't get to bowl as much as others. Some of them, I see the lane condition, I know they're gonna struggle. I'm not gonna put them through that. Yeah, and that's why I didn't get to bowl Branson at Harsel over to Cagle. 41 feet with the sharpest back end you ever seen. Like, first ball he threw went to the gutter and hit the tin pin. I said, can you throw it harder? He goes, it'll go in the gutter. And sure enough, it went in the gutter. I'm not gonna subject a kid to, you know, that kind of punishment, if you will, but I know he'll try if I tell him to. But I got a couple more that's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna jeopardize the team losing because of whatever. No, I gave you about 75%. Well, you 75% over here on the bench and cheer for your team. And I don't mean that ugly.
No, I know, but I just.
And I know you've seen it.
Yeah.
And then again, I think another problem that prevents is, and one of the things I noticed back in the day, again, you know, in order to play sports, grades got to be up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
we talked about that.
And hard look.
Line.
That was harped on. It
Yes.
was like, and you know, I can remember a bunch of times my dad was like, okay, you know, you've got a C. Like, I know you can get a B.
Dude, your grandfather would have had your hind end.
No, well, that's the thing. That's the thing about my dad. No, my dad was even worse. But the point is like, you got to see, hey, I know that's passing, but you know, you're better than that.
Exactly.
Like, you at least have a B. And basically what happened, okay, well, you know what, if you're not gonna get your grades up, you're not gonna do the things you wanna do. So, and it comes back down, so again, it comes down, yeah, absolutely, so it comes down to accountability. That was instilled in me at a very, very young age. And I remember the days where it was like, you know, the teachers and the parents were united.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
yes.
a united front, so it was like, okay, if I get in trouble with a teacher,
You get it when you get home.
and then I'm getting in trouble when I
Worse.
get home. And it's even worse. Oh my God, I don't want to talk to my dad.
I don't want to get my butt
But the
beat,
thing
but it's gonna
about
happen.
it, but the thing about it is now it's again the choice. It's different generations and everything,
Sure.
different way of life. I get that. I don't always agree with it, but I get that. But it's at the end of the day, somebody has to take accountability.
Right.
Somebody has to take accountability for it. It's like, okay, like, I'll be the first one to tell you, it's just like, you know, I get invited to go to this tournament, hey, you know, when bowl the Nationals, like, you don't want me bowling. Oh, you know, you sell yourself short. No, I don't sell myself short. I am looking at myself on the outside looking in and say, look, I did not match up very well with this pattern. I honestly don't want to spend $100 for $25 worth of $25 of game to practice.
Right.
I need to practice on it. I need to
Yes.
refocus myself. That's the difference between somebody going, I can't do it, versus somebody that's logically
No,
going,
you're
you know
right.
what? Investment's not there. I'm not there yet, but when I get there, I'll do it. So, growing youth program, back to the point.
Yep.
Mhm.
I get off on this tangent.
No, you're good, dude. I got you.
You gotta help me with
I got. You're still spitting good stuff. That's why I haven't reeled you in. I will reel you in when I need to.
But I just think
Yeah.
now, yeah, please do.
I got you,
But
dude.
I
You go.
think, but I think now with the kids, again, choice. They got tons of choices. They've got technology, tons of technology. But it's like, start small. I think it's like a revival, if you will.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Start off with a small group, and I think get them involved. And another thing I can tell you too, I suggest this, make them feel welcome.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times in leagues where I've had people like 2 or 3 leagues into like damn good average bowlers or cash league, and they're like, hey Mike, you know, I'm thinking about it more competitively, what should I do? Okay, try this league. Had a guy bring a team into our Monday Night League in the summer. He got done. He goes, I ain't going back to that league. And I was like, well, if you don't mind me asking, why will you not? He goes, Michael, I didn't feel welcome. We all had max handicap, and anytime we bowled a good game, I almost felt like they spit in my face. Make them feel welcome. I cannot stress that enough. Make them feel welcome. Sunday nights, we got people that bowl as low as 60 and 70. We got guys that roll up to 220 or 230. It's a good balance. It's a healthy balance, as I call it. And it's, again, goes back to our point. We've reiterated this tons of times in this podcast. Check your ego at the door. Like, seriously, make them feel welcome. Check your ego at the door and start small.
Yeah.
So I just think if you, as a community, and y'all can do that big, like, you know, they did that tournament here, that high school tournament a couple weeks ago. They bring people from Birmingham, Hartsville, and so. Like, I mean, Oakwood came out and bowled that tournament.
Right.
And, you know, Richard was like, hey, you know what, we're going to give it our best shot. And at the end of the day, he goes, well, you know, we really fell short above, you know, our expectations, but I'm really glad I got the kids out here for the experience.
Sure.
And that right there is like, you'll really see where your teams are at when you go into, like, you're a big fish in a small pond,
Right.
and you become a small fish in a humongous pond. You really see where your team is at and where they are truly at as far as their development.
I agree, and that's, you know, I got a text from Dustin said, hey, why are we bowling in this? I said, I'll put it to you point blank. I don't have an issue, I mean, I'm not made of money, by no means, but I don't have an issue coming up with the funds to put in my kids, and when I say my kids, I'm talking about anybody that I help.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care what school they're from, what not. But this being a high school tournament, it's real simple. I don't have a problem spending the money to put them in to get them experience.
Right.
But 3 things that I harp on coaching these kids. You're gonna be respectful. You're gonna have the grades. And you're gonna try 110%, or we're not doing it.
Right.
And 2 or 3 of them struggling with grades.
Right.
So why am I rewarding you as a whole when a couple of them may be starters?
Right.
You know, and they were like, but coach, I said, no buts. I said, because, you know, you're sitting here like a knot on a log. You're not, you know, cheering your teammates on. You're not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go down there to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because of knowing where you're at.
Yeah. And I think you knew I wasn't asking,
No,
why
yeah,
are we
yeah,
doing this?
exactly.
Because your reply,
Yeah.
and I was like, I think I probably verbatim, you can scroll back, like, can't argue with that. Good call, coach.
And it's just, you know, and I hate that because, yes, you got a couple of students that you're trying to make a point, but you're punishing the rest of them. And the sad part is, it's not a singles tournament.
It's a team sport. That's exactly what
and
I'm saying.
that's what it boiled down to. So, and I hate that, but, you know, one quick thing, if you don't mind, I did want to give a shout out to the regional, right now, the way it's going, as far as high school. Give a shout out to Spartan girls and boys. They'll be going to regionals. Right now, there's a dogfight for the boys and the girls. I know James Clemens is making a great push for the girls as well as Hartsville. And on the boys' side, looks like it's going to come down between Hartsville, James Clemens, and Huntsville. And this week, as far as my team goes, this week we'll be wrapping up our season. We bowl Monday, tomorrow we bowl James Clemens here at 4 o'clock. We go out to Madison and bowl Spartan. I believe it's at 3:30 and on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we finish the season with Buckhorn, Hartsville, and Jemison. If you're catching this, if you know you've got friends that have kids that are in high school that and not sure if they have bowling or not, bring them down. Let them see what high school bowling's about. The support that they get from the community, because these teams that are coming in are going to bring a crowd. They always have. You go out to Madison, you're probably not going to get a seat unless you get there early enough. Spartan has a great following. I look them to make a great run, boys and girls side. I do believe their girls are undefeated in the region. The boys have lost once, so I mean it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And when they get on, it's you know, shooting 60, I believe, is their high series this year. And when they're on, when any team is on, it's fun to watch, to hear the crowd cheering, you know, and you'll hear other teams cheering for that bunch as well. So just want to see them do well. So
Thanks, Coach. That's, yeah, man, yeah.
You know, you already
That'll be
Couldn't have
fun.
said it
though.
better myself, sir.
Yeah.
I can't leave out Scottsboro East Limestone.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are they're going to be 1 and 2 and 1 through 5A.
Mhm.
And their matches happen this week, I believe, Tuesday and Thursday.
Mhm.
So their area will pretty much be solidified this coming week or right after Christmas as well. So I mean, we got some great teams.
Yeah.
So
And it's fun to watch. It is. It's a good experience. One thing I want to mention real quick, I'm going to try to mention a book every episode
Sure.
we have. We talked about earlier the 10,000 hour thing and consistency, a lot of that. If you're watching, let me know, spot check me here. I don't remember if it's Outlier or Outliers. I don't remember if there's an S on it, but Outlier. Either one of y'all familiar with that book? It's fantastic. Look that up for me if somebody doesn't mind. Will tell us whether there's an S or not and who writes it, but it's a fantastic book. We can talk about that a little bit down the line, but we're running out of time real quick and we got some things to cover. Next, I had it ready to go. Next, oh, hey, we've got a special new segment that we're introducing. Are you ready for it, Coach?
Sure.
We have Beginner's Lane with Coach Mike. Because we want to bring something for everybody. We keep talking about how can we get new bowlers in? How can we experience, bowling out there to the public? How can we get more people in here? Well, Beginner's Lane is going to be a good spot to start, I think, Coach. Where you got, again, the source of knowledge, the depth of knowledge, the IQ of a bowler is ridiculous, making me lose my words how good you are. But he's going to start off the segment, Beginner's Lane, and I'll just leave it to you, bud.
Before I do, to answer your question, it is Outliers with an S.
Thank you, Outliers with an S. Fantastic book. It's incredible. We'll talk more about it.
And I'm going to reel this in with James being here with us today.
Okay.
So, James, answer this question. How many boards are on a lane?
you're gonna make me count, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Because I don't pull from the left side. 39.
All right. Well, James cheated because Dustin gave him the answer. But that is
But I do know how many boards are in between arrows. So
Yeah, well, that's good. I didn't ask that. That's how many boards are on
To be fair, though, I can't leave him hanging.
I don't use
My
30.
kid's coach.
But I don't use 39 boards.
You don't have to use 39 boards.
Plus, I wanted to make sure you were set. I'm helping you.
I know. I appreciate that. No, but a lot of people think, oh, there's 40. There's 40. Nope.
No.
It is 39 boards on a bowling lane. So that is your what do you call this segment?
You know the name of the segment. Beginner's Lane, but tell
I
us.
just wanted you to plug that.
Thank you. Beginner's Lane with 39 boards. But so my next question with that, why is it relevant to know how many boards there are? Okay, so there's 39. Whoop-de-doo. Why is it important to know there's 39 boards?
I'll ask you both a question and I'll let you both answer. James,
Yes, sir.
you hit the 10 board. Which board did you hit?
The 10 board. That's the 10 board. I throw the ball right from the right side, so that's 10 boards in. That's the second arrow.
What is the 10 board, Dustin?
Counting. Actually, don't they both start? You start here and here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10.
It's the
Is that
second arrow, guys.
I said second arrow.
right? I mean, that's what I was gonna say.
I said second arrow.
He said second arrow.
We said second. No, I didn't at all.
Hey, Curtis says hi. Yeah, we're still on.
Now we're just conversating, looking at these two phones.
So,
You'll flash over.
So, but anyway, no, so second arrow, okay? Ball is overhooking and I tell you to move 2 boards left. That's why it's important to know how many boards are in between each arrow,
Okay.
which essentially that's 5.
So a new bowler showing up. Say that we're strolling off the street, getting shoes, house ball, seeing these arrows. This stuff. If you just explained it to me and I have no idea what you're talking about, how'd you break it down even more? If I'm showing up, first time bowling in years, what am I looking at?
You're looking at arrows in the increment of 5.
Okay.
So basically, first arrow's 5, second arrow's 10.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I'm basing it on right-handed.
Yeah,
Obviously,
right,
if you're
right.
lefty, flip it. But first arrow is 5, second arrow is 10, third arrow is 15, middle arrow is 20. And then as you keep going left, you get to 25, 30, 35, 39.
Throwing 40, you're in the gutter.
You are on the gray board, and you don't want to be on the gray board.
And so when we talked about a lot of times earlier from going outside in, like that's how you throw outside in. Now that we know there's 39 boards, and they're out here and every arrow is 5 boards, that kind of makes a little bit more sense when you think about it. Going outside all the way out, from the first of 39, coming into the pocket. Right? Okay. I think I like it.
See, you did it.
We did it. We did it.
But you're the host and the greatest one ever.
Thank you. Well, maybe there could be a Harry Bieber of me because we have a Harry of the greatest
secretary ever, Randall Reed.
I could see one of these little beavers in a 3-piece.
I don't know about all that, but you know.
He's gotta be. Let me see Harry. Speaking of Harry, that's gonna lead us in. I love it. Thank you. That's Beginner's Lane brought to us. First ever Beginner's Lane. Let us know what you want next in those because we want to do this thing. What? It's Harry. You know Harry, right?
Yeah, dude. Go ahead.
I think it'll look great in 3-piece. No, let us know what you want to hear in Beginner's Lane because we're going to be doing that every episode. And that's a great segue actually into Harry Beaver and. All right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
This is
I'm good.
I'm good. But we gave a great website overview, and I was actually catching up on the blogs. I read all the blogs last night. Yep, because you'd asked me, oh, did you read? So I did. I read them. You're doing a great job with the blogs. You can tell by reading. You can tell there's commitment in it. You care about what you're writing. You're not just writing to put it in. You know, does that make sense to everybody? You know,
if you're gonna do it right.
Right, and you are doing it. And
you have to have a purpose for it.
Yes. So we did a great website overview. The brand merch.
Yeah.
We've got it over here to the left, our left, your right, even though you can't see it. I got my beanie last night, actually. I love my beanie. I got my beanie and a hat. Mike's going to show them to us. So, Harry is our mascot. He's the beaver. There it is. Boom, boom. Oh, yeah, and it's on the shirt. I got to get some of these colored shirts, man.
I know, I got to order some more.
But we do have one. There's different logos of it. There's about, what, 5 different variations?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have them all out here.
Yeah.
But we've got the different logos made.
I'm working on trying to replenish the inventory.
Yeah.
But you guys can go on damngoodaveragebowler.net, go to the shop, send in an order form of what you want. I'll contact you personally and we'll take care of payment just that way. And then that way you know for a fact that you're getting what you get. It takes about 2.5 weeks. And we'll give it to you in person or I can ship it to you. I actually am shipping a hat out to a guy named Paul in Eugene, Oregon.
Yep.
He contacted me yesterday and said he wanted one. He sent me the money and now it's going out on Monday.
That's awesome. Cool. I like that. For the brand.
For the brand.
Mike, take us right into price point, because that's another new segment we're doing. Because we've got a fabulous pro shop here, I think. There's a ton of great stuff. And so, price point's a new series we're going to be doing where something's featured in the pro shop that Mike's going to talk to us about.
Well, since everybody voted on it, we're going to talk about the new blue hammer. Again, haven't drilled it yet, so I can't give you a personal opinion of it, but once I do, you guys will see a video, and that ball is in the $149.99 price range at Bowling World, with add another $75 on it for drilling, and you have a price after tax of $238.49. That is gripped and drilled from Bowling World. You can check that out at Bowling World.
I'm not kidding. You think Mike's starting to get a feel for it, but he doesn't fully appreciate it. I'm serious.
All right.
I think I'm joking.
So,
last couple, yeah, go ahead.
I guess that was it.
Sure.
But no, like I said, you guys will see it here soon. I'll be posting the video on my YouTube channel and looking forward to showing you guys whether it's really good or really bad in my hands.
I'm looking forward to this one. This one I know a little bit about.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the kids that we bowled against in Decatur was throwing it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if he was actually a college student that had come down to high school, but either way. Inside joke, anyway, moving on.
Trust me.
Yeah. And the platforms again with old Harry.
Mm-hmm.
I just love seeing that now, and plus it gets you going, so that's fun for me. But we're live on YouTube and Facebook right now.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff's going on there. We're working on getting over and building up the Instagram for Damn Good. Am I leaving anything out?
No, I actually did an interview with you
Yes,
on your channel.
that's right. I have a podcast, Cast Wisdom or CW. Season 1's on Spotify. You can check that out, or just go to my Instagram. It's all on there. And I'm bringing my show back. So to do that, I had Curtis and Mike on there the other night for my show that we're going to get booting back up. And I think CW and Dan Good Average Bowlers are going to start doing more stuff together.
Right.
It just seems like a good fit. Show went great turnout, a lot of good stuff, and I think that there's just a lot more content that we can talk about. Half the notes that I'm writing down through these shows are topics that we'll either come back to or new topics for us. So it went great. I appreciate you guys joining me over there.
No, that was fun.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was a lot of fun.
And okay, so we've talked about that. We've pushed the platforms because we're running out of time here real quick.
Yeah.
It's been a great show.
It has.
Thanks again for
Yes,
coming on. I
sir.
knew it was going to be
Hey,
fun.
appreciate you
I'm
having me.
glad we got to have you on the whole time. So, upcoming events. What do we got?
Next week, Scratch Sweeper, 37-foot radium at 1 o'clock. We're gonna be back here with you next week. Hopefully we're gonna lock down Mr. Wes McElroy as our special guest. You talk about a wealth of knowledge. Wes can tell you some stuff. He's, again, I've known him since I was 10, 11 years old. And, God, it's almost 30 years.
Yeah.
That's, wow. But, no, we're hoping to have that. And after that, we're gonna take a 2-week break for the sweepers because of Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. And, I mean, yeah. And I'm also in the works, trying to lock down a date for us to have Tony Churchy on here. I'm really looking forward to that.
That will be a good one.
Mhm.
But also tomorrow, what do we have some tomorrow.
Oh, we are doing Strike and Spare Derby, the next episode, tomorrow night. You can thank Nicholas Delgado. He actually went out and he's got 7 people right now. He's trying to find 8 so we can complete the bracket. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. They're putting $20 on the wager line again.
So have you seen any of these yet?
No, I have not.
Have you heard about it?
Yes,
Okay.
I have.
Are you subscribed to the channel?
Of course. He was number 200, remember?
Oh, two.
Yeah.
That's right.
He
How do you
was.
not know about the students?
Valid point. But no, this is going to be what, our sixth or 7th?
Lost count.
But quite a few at this point.
Okay.
They're getting better. They're a lot of fun.
There's 6 episodes of the Hot Sauce Spare Challenge in season 1.
And that's hilarious.
Yes. That one's coming back.
We might be working in some stuff to get that brought back because there's a lot of people that are really wanting to take the challenge. I had some high school kids come in there and ask me about my wheel the other day, and
Really?
I was like, not without parental consent.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not without parental consent, because I get the adults to fill out a waiver because I'm not responsible for your medical bills if you need to go to the ER.
There's a lot of great stuff going on that we've done, that we're doing, that's coming up. If you have any ideas, things you want to see, again, let us know. Give us your feedback because we are paying attention to it. We love it. We appreciate you guys supporting. Support the brand. Go follow everything. But yeah, it's just a ton of fun.
Yeah.
There's awesome stuff going on here. I'm just thrilled to be involved in all of this.
Yes, it is.
With you guys.
And just to say, guys out there, come into the shop, see me, get them Christmas presents. Christmas is gonna be here before we know it. I mean, we're like, what? We're almost 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Almost 2 weeks
Already.
away from Christmas
That's
already.
insane.
Dude, it's
And
2
we're
weeks
close to
from tomorrow.
2024.
Yeah.
Did you see the new thing in the pro shop?
Did, yeah.
It's not for sale,
Yeah.
except at Lowe's. You can find, it's for sale at Lowe's and you can find one.
Lowe's.
Come check it out. I love it. I'm a nerd about that stuff though. I don't know if you really like it or you're just tolerating me, but I appreciate it. You have to come find out what it is. I'm not going to say anything other than that. Closing thoughts?
It's a bowling
guys?
center and a bowling center.
I knew we weren't going to get through this anymore.
That's what you said yesterday.
It is.
It's a
I know.
bowling
It's
center and a bowling center.
bowling alley to bowling alley. We do Christmas Town.
See, that's where we're different too. He says
Yeah.
alley, I say center.
Yeah.
What's the appropriate here in Alabama?
No,
I'm
like,
kidding.
no, I'm telling you this right now. Alley is what we used to say back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Now it's a bowling center.
I think that's why I like to say alley.
There you go.
You
You're
know,
the anti.
Yes, I'm anti-change.
You're the anti.
Especially with you explaining that.
Yeah.
Alley.
Uh-huh.
What do you say? What do you prefer to say?
And I just say, let's go.
We'll just go.
That's it.
You're all right, buddy. I like you.
Cliff, grab a bag.
Yeah, we're going. Man, okay.
No, just like I said, stay tuned. Tomorrow night, about 8:30, 8:45, we'll have Strike and Spare Derby once again. Some of the guys are doing it again, so you have already seen them before. And no Bean Boozle challenge on Monday because when they're bowling for money, they're bowling for money. Losing the money is lost
Yeah.
enough.
They're both fun to watch. So we do them. They start on Sunday nights,
Uh-huh.
which was just a damn good average. That was us.
Mhm.
And you would do and it was no money, I think, right? Like no side
No,
bucks,
it was just for fun.
right. So you did Bean Boozle if you lose. But I kind of like Monday night when they throw money in
Yeah,
because it gets a little more serious.
yeah,
And I tell you what, the guys that don't win
yeah.
don't stick around too long.
You can't get a post. You can't get a post-round interview with them. That's for sure.
James, how do you blow it?
Okay, no comment. Got it.
But they're a lot of fun.
My car's running.
Yeah.
No, hey, for real, just want to say this personally, thank you. Thank you to James, thanks to Dustin. Thanks for Curtis for making an appearance today too. But once again, we're looking to come back with you live next Sunday for episode 3, and hopefully we got West McElroy locked down. Like I said, 200 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much. I cannot say thank you enough. Facebook, we're getting traction, and I like where it's going. And if anybody, as a bowler out there, you want to be a guest on the show, let us know, and we'll try to lock down a date. And again, as always, I appreciate you guys, James. Thanks for coming on to the show. Thanks for talking about high school bowling. And I mean, like I said, it's as Tony Churchy said today, it ain't easy being me, but it's good being me.
I don't think I can close this out any better than that. That's fantastic. So
That's you.
for Coach Cagle, for Coach Price, James and Michael, I'm Dustin Capps, your host for Damn Good Average Bowlers. Episode 2, thank you everybody for tuning in. And that was gorgeous. I'm just going to leave that there, Mike. We appreciate it, and we're going to see you soon.
All right.
Freeze frame.